9 to 12 and some 9
It's being
class,
recorded.
class 9 to 12. So you have some background of science part also. And but this is a very interesting topic. There are many things. Climate change, it is a very well known fact actually, but the science of climate change, we will what I will do, science of climate change, implication of climate change, how it is affecting the weather prediction part, in the scenario of climate change, how the weather prediction is integrated to this climate change, and what we are doing. So all these parts, and what towards the end also there are certain action plan, means as a student also something we have to do, as a planning level something has to be done, as a scientist I have to contribute. So each one of us has to contribute something toward the mitigation of climate change. So that part also I'll say, I will take this opportunity to discuss that part as well. So when we call a climate before we go for a climate change or anything, at a climate system, if you see the climate system, it is a very complex system. Complex system is, you can see how many processes, how many processes are taking place, interaction, sun, hydrology cycle, air, absorption, solar radiation, cloud, land surface, vegetation, orography, human influence, industry. So this is a very complex system. First, let us say how that means we are dealing with a more complex system that is called climate. Okay. So when in the climate system also, there are, yes, we have divided into different sphere, like solid earth, lithosphere, atmosphere just above the earth surface, and a biosphere, and the hydrosphere. So these are there. And in the human system, what we are here, that we are interacting with all part of the climate system. Okay. So because of these things, can, yeah, some mic is on, can swing, huh? Okay, so because of these things that we
Mr. Ray, Dr. Ray Sisho Bhatia.
sir, okay, some mic is on, can you switch on?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking is that human industry, we are interacting with all the sphere of the climate. So as a result, means anthrosphere, there is another terminology we use it. Anthrosphere means which part of climate is changed due to human induced effect. That means human also making industry, deforestation, that we are doing. So in that process we are also influencing some part of climate. So that is called the anthrosphere, means something we are doing in a man-made or artificially here in that's why some part it is changing. Okay, so that we can say we are influencing climate system because of our action. Then come to, I'll talk about that climate change. Before that, you also little bit should know about the what we are doing in the department, because background how we are coming to the climate science. Means here India Meteorology Department is a long history actually. Yes, I am from Odisha, so yes, I mean the first thing it was there because of the subtropical cyclone affecting the West Bengal coast in 1865. The department was actually means there was a need to have a department like India Meteorology Department. So 1875 it was established under the British rule time. So that is long history. So that was a need of this thing. So that means what was the need? Yes, one cyclone affecting it was killing like more than 20,000, 50,000 people that time also. So that's why it was thought by the government that yes, we should have a department who can monitor, then let us say forecasting, take the observations, all these things. Okay, so that is the basic objective of the department. So these are observations. First we have to take the observations, where what is temperature, pressure, everything, what is happening everywhere. Then we have to forecast, means we have to give early indication that something is happening, something coming, it will hit over Paradeep or cyclone. Okay, then that's involve forecasting. The sectoral application, because of that thing, sometimes agriculture needs some forecast, sometimes disaster manager will need our forecast, sometimes hydrology people will need forecast for dam operation, Sometimes tourism people will need forecast. Amarnath Yatra, they need forecast. So that's a sectoral application. Various sector will need various forecast or warning. Okay, then severe weather. Whenever there is some severe weather, normal weather, everything weather is fine, it is very pleasant. But whenever there will be severe weather like heavy rainfall, cyclone, heat wave, all these things, then that also we have to give warning. Then numerical modeling. There is another numeric. How we can do this forecasting, all these. It is not, this is a simple job. As you have seen, a complex system, climate system. So when we are dealing with the forecasting, we have to do numerical modeling. So I am the head of the numerical modeling division that actually involved the predicting the weather, okay, in future. So this is basically the our mission and vision of IMD, okay. And then when we come to the topic, how we are related to this people know already, global warming, climate change, okay. In a very simple language, if you see here, the solar radiation is coming, okay, from the sun to the earth surface, it is observed, but all the radiation has to go back, okay, in the return back. Then only otherwise the earth surface temperature will go on rising every day. Okay, so in order to maintain whatever sunrise receive, that has to go back. So this is called outgoing long wave here radiation. Okay, so this is so big, but because of the gases present in the atmosphere, that is called the greenhouse gases, we can say the carbon dioxide, mainly the carbon dioxide dominated, water vapor also. So because of that thing, the outgoing radiation is trapped. So that means whatever going back, the outgoing radiation that is trapped, and again it will reflect back some part of it. Okay, because of that thing, the earth's surface will have little bit a rise in temperature. So that is the basic concept of the global greenhouse effect, and due to that thing, the earth's surface temperature is gradually rising because we are having more and more greenhouse gases. Okay, CO2, that increase of CO2 is linked with that. Then this is, yeah, so then, okay, so then this is another thing is when we call it climate change. So this year is very hot weather, next year is very cool weather. Can sir, again there is some disturbance coming. Can you switch off?
Okay.
Okay. So here there is a, then when we say there are two things, variability and change. Let us say this year something happened, warming, previous year cold. So this is called variability. I mean, this year, because every year weather will not be similar. So there will be variation. So that we call it normal variability, climate variability. But when there is systematic change, long period change, if you see some change, 30 years average if you take, then if you see some changes, then we call it climate change. Okay, year to year variation is not climate change. So this is just to see how the carbon dioxide is increasing. Okay, so now it is more than 420 parts per million. Then because of this, the global temperature is also rising. So if you see here 1950, 1960 onwards, systematically there is rise in global surface air temperature. Okay, so this rise, this is because of global warming, we can say greenhouse gas. And so this, because of this thing, now on how it affecting, okay, how it affecting on simple temperature rising, but when we come to the weather part, how it is affecting the weather system. So cause you can say industrialization, deforestation, because that human induced part, and it's increasing greenhouse gases warming. Then impact of climate change means here we are talking about what will happen if this thing happening. So how the weather is related. Yes, we will see here subsequently temperature is heat wave, ice melting is there, then you're flooding, more heavy rainfall, then drought. Okay, the fresh water availability reduces. All these things are impact of climate change. So there's a global scale, whatever we have rise in temperature, we have noticed. Then over the India also, if you see last 100, more than 100 years, 120 years, there is also a rise in temperature that you also notice on our Indian scale, I mean, over the Indian region. Correct. Okay. So then, yeah. So then, as I said, this is happening, climate change, global warming, fine. But now how it is related to weather, extreme weather. So when we come to the weather system, let us come to the India. India is specifically, actually it is influenced by all type of weather. What time in December, January, February, now the time winter, WD, that's a North India, you will get western disturbance, heavy rainfall, all these things part is there. Even sometimes the WD affect central India also, this Odisha part also, you can get rainfall during the winter. When we come to pre-monsoon time, that is your March, April, May, this is hot weather season, we get thunderstorms, heat wave. Okay, so all this part, this is the region where you get thunderstorm, heat wave. Odisha also get very frequently heat wave. Then also sometimes cyclone. Okay, pre-monsoon cyclone, you have seen it in May month. Okay, the Amphan cyclone, this was there. So cyclone also occasionally forming during the pre-monsoon, March, April, May. Then the monsoon time, June to September, very monsoon region, so we get very heavy rainfall flooded over. Even all these river basins are okay, releasing water, the dam, so the heavy rainfall and flooding, that is a common scenario. So that is June to September. Again, when you come to the post monsoon, October to November, December, yes, again severe cyclones are the very frequent, like Phylline cyclone you have seen, the Hudu cyclone. So many cyclones are there during the October, November, December. So that's why our weather system is throughout the year we are having severe weather. So this is earthquake. Earthquake we are not talking because it is not hydrometeorological disaster, it's geophysical disaster. So heavy rainfall we get very heavy rainfall over. This is the belt, okay, including central India. Coastal belt, 7,000 kilometer coastal vulnerable because of cyclone. Okay, then drought, because monsoon failure there will be drought, flood. Okay, then flooding, 40 million hectares are prone to flood. Or then monsoon failure, drought. Then your thunderstorm, this is hailstorm, thunderstorm zone. Tornado also sometimes it is. Okay, so that means India is a land of severe weathers. Okay, all type of weathers are there. Yes, this is the statistics. So all type of severe weathers, our country is facing the all type of severe weather. And when there is some statistic here, if you take the disaster loss, means what, because of the disaster there will be loss of life, property, okay, all these things. So there is some estimate was there. So that means when you, which one is causing how much damage? Okay, so number of events. If you number of events also, if you see flood event, windstorm, earthquake. So this is hydrometeorological disasters, means this high flood, wind. Okay, this is very high, but more than 78%. Similarly, loss of life, because one cyclone, if it is not properly prepared or not evacuated, it can, yes, it can 99 super cyclone of Odisha. Okay, we have seen that one also. More than 10,000 officially figure were there, loss of life. So one cyclone. So loss of life also because of other, compared to other thing, here you are getting more. Similarly, economic loss. Economic loss, yes, you have seen recently that funny cyclone or that damage was extensive damage. So economically also it can lose a huge one thing. So 90%, 70 of the event, 70% casualty, loss of life, and 65% economic losses are due to hydrometeorological disaster. So okay, this weathers can cause loss of trade. But when it is climate change, how it is affecting that? Climate change, what is happening when our temperature is rising? So we are from one era to going to other era. That's why in the other era, that is when the temperature rising, we are having more hot weather, more of severe weather. That's why it is very common nowadays, severe weather. We call it severe weather. So because of climate change, the heavy rainfall, all these things are increasing. Nowadays, urban flooding, you have seen it. Okay, intense increase heat wave, melting of polar ice, global warming, flooding, erosion, coastal area. So all these things are consequence of the climate change. And this is a very common phenomenon nowadays in Odisha state also, we have seen it. So this is the area where we get heat wave. But if you see, heat wave also taking a lot of life. Okay, nowadays because of the extreme temperature, dehydration, and non-availability of medical help timely, many things. People are working outside. So all these things are causing the loss of lives. And this analysis have shown that there is a very increasing trend of heat wave. That means heat wave, how intense and frequency both are increasing now. That means this is increasing, more heat waves, duration, high temperature, these are increasing now. So that means climate change is causing the heat waves to very intense. That is observed. Then again you have seen the flooding condition. So flood also nowadays it is there, and even Bhubaneswar city also type of thing, that is also flooded nowadays because of heavy rainfall. What happened? How this rain is coming? Okay, so the analysis has shown that the total amount of rain, there is no trend. Means in a season, June to September, how much rain is happening over the India, that remains the same. But what is happening is that one day you are getting more rainfall and number of days are very less for rainfall. I mean, you are not getting everyday rainfall or small amount of rainfall. You are getting less number of days, but with high amount of rainfall. So that's why what implication is that, yes, you will have disaster, means more disaster, that we call severe weather. One severe weather is increasing, that means we will have more disaster. So it is a challenging for a disaster management. So that is happening nowadays. Heat wave also. Just this is a very common scene. You can see now city, all the city also. This is Chennai recently, and this year also. Means this is a very common scenario nowadays. And landslide. If you go to rainfall over the mountains, landslide. Okay, it's a cloud burst. So this type of also scenario is very common. And yeah, this is some of the example I'm doing. Now, when we have seen that one, even a small region wise also, many area of the country now the heavy rainfall. Then dry days are increasing, but heavy rainfall days, number of heavy rainfall days are increasing. Number of heavy rainfall days are increasing over many parts of central India. That's why less number of day with heavy rainfall, but total rainfall remain the same. Means no significant change. Okay, then another thing, another disaster is called cyclone. So cyclone, intense cyclone. Total frequency, it is not changing. There is no change in the total number of cyclones that is affecting North Indian Ocean, let us say. But sometimes we have seen it that now more intense cyclones are there, but intensity is very high. So the number are not very increasing, but Arabian Sea also now more number of that increasing, particularly in recent years. So this way, the climate change is a very integrated, it means a total link with our severe weather. So severe weather and climate change. So that means climate change is causing something increasing in severe weather. Okay, this is the cyclone. Yeah, and this already coastal belt will be your because of sea level rise, melting of ice, that means inundation, coastal inundation. That is also there. There are many cities vulnerable to this one, sea level rise, because of the climate change. Now, this is what we have observed in the past, means from our data that we have what are available. Now, what is projection? Projection means when we are talking about 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 40 years, what will happen? What will happen? So that we don't call it prediction. Okay, that we don't call it prediction. We call it projection. Means we do not know exactly what will be the scenario of carbon dioxide, what will be the scenario of vegetation. So there are some way we can estimate, yes, this population growth is in this rate, the vehicle growth is in this rate, industry growth is in this rate, then the carbon dioxide will be in this range. In that case, what will be the consequence of the future weather? So past cases, past observation, we have already seen climate change and increasing severe weather. So when you say future projection, there is uncertainty here, but future projections are there. That also it is that showing that probability of increase temperature and precipitation. So that will be more. Okay, so in the future projection also we are expecting the rainfall intensity will be high, heavy. There will be increase in heavy rainfall, and also the temperature, that is heat wave, more heat wave. So that is also a projected changes in the future scenario. Now, coming to the second part of my talk, forecasting of severe weather using enthalpy models. So we have already seen that frequency, severe weathers are now increasing. So forecasting, when we call it forecasting, that is a challenge. Suppose normal weather, means suppose very temperature is present, weather is present, nobody need forecasting. Okay, they will enjoy, yes, everything fine. So no, that is called normal. If the weather is very normal, so prediction has no value. But we have to predict the severe weather. Severe weather means, yes, high temperature, low temperature extreme, heavy rainfall, cyclone, heat wave, tornadoes, thunderstorms, Okay, all these things will be happening, that is called heavy severe weather, that we have to predict. So the prediction part, it is also a challenging part. As I said, it is a very complex system. So numerical weather prediction, as I was mentioning, numerical weather prediction is a tool that we use for predicting the weather. So in the simple language, we can say that this is a tool. Numerical means you have to solve mathematically weather prediction. So there has to be a set of equations. So that is not required now for you. But what we need is, this is feasible only using supercomputer. High computers are needed, so that we will be able to predict something for 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, 1 season, okay, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So that way we have to use the numerical weather prediction. And as per the requirement of our various users means aviation for users are there, let us say agriculture, hydrology. So many users, different type of requirement for that. So accordingly, we predict the our model.
Microphone is muted.
Yeah. Okay. So according to the prediction time scale, we need 3 to 6 hour nowcasting. Very satellite forecasting up to 12 hours. Some prediction is required. Suppose somebody is so launching a satellite. Okay, so they need just every 12 hours. In case they will expect something, thunderstorm or very strong wind, they will abort the launch. Okay, so that's why very short range also. Short range forecasting, 2 to 3 days forecasting for other applications. Then medium range for agriculture, farmer need 5 to 10 days. And extended range means 3 to 4 weeks prediction. Okay, that is also agriculture, hydrology, and other strategic planning. Okay, then seasonal forecast, 1 season, this is contingency plan. Suppose this monsoon will be bad, or if we were expecting it will be drought, then yes, we have to store the food grain. So these are various requirements are there. Accordingly, various models are required for prediction. So this is just how this very old computer means we were using computer. As I said, computer is the essential part of numerical weather prediction. So computer earlier, they very big computer, but very less powerful computer earlier. But now it has revolutionized. Means yes, we are using the supercomputer. Supercomputer on Ministry of Science, so very powerful computer. That is all because we need all the data, whatever coming from the globe everywhere, surface, upper air, satellite, everything has to come in time, network, and then assimilate and give the model input, then do the prediction. So that's why we need a supercomputer. So weather prediction, supercomputer is utilized now for, and even that 2008 very powerful supercomputer are now it is being used by our ministry for how this weather prediction this work. So this is a schematic diagram, you can understand very well. There is not difficulty. So first we take the observations. We miss all the community, not only India, it is a global observations. Surface observations, pilot observation, man taking observations, okay, balloon releasing, upper air observations. So then aircraft is going, they are taking observations, ship observations, ocean buoys observations, radar observations, satellite observations, okay, all AWS, automatic weather, all type of observations, whatever is taking place in the entire world, that will come to our networking system, that is regional telecom hub. So okay, that data, two-way exchange is there. So all the data, Indian and foreign data, global data will come in time, means within half an hour. Then there is a flow in, that means the global data will come here, and we also will send the global data, because that is a convention that our data also will go to the other center. Once the data is there, then 24-hour data flow is there. After the data is there, that is the anal communication is there. Communication through communication network will come to data observations, communication to. Third is analysis and forecasting. Means once huge data is coming, so that we have to analyze, particularly in very short time for using in a numerical model. So that is where we need the supercomputer. Okay, supercomputer. So analysis and forecasting. So then after this thing, once the forecasting is there, we will prepare the customized product. What, because cyclone warning means there is a particular forecast is required for particular user. So that customized forecast that we will give to the disaster managers media, the state government. So that way, this dissemination also, then you have to disseminate through mobile, you have to disseminate the radio, TV. So okay, so this is total system how the forecasting is work. So you can just see the example how we are taking the data. Okay, this is the surface data, and even the land and ocean. The entire data is coming here. Even the aircraft data. This is aircraft data. Flying, they are sending data. This is the your GPS RO. This is also satellite data. Okay, then this is your different satellite coverage area. They are giving the data. So all type of data, satellite data are coming in real time. Then if you see just a total different Korean Met Agency, NOAA, USA, the many European MetSat, ISRO, CMA, so different agency, NRSC, or JMA, Japan Met. So all data we are getting, and now 85, more than 90% satellite observations are now utilized in the model. So you can imagine how that technology has developed. Okay, for then different models are there. I'll not go with the science part, but different, we are using different model for predicting different time scale forecast. Means short range forecast, regional models we are using, medium range forecast, 5 to 10 days forecast, global model, then couple model for 1 month forecast, the seasonal for 1 month for so seasonal forecast for couple model. So different type of models are being used for forecasting. So this is just a schematic, and when you want to predict a certain smaller time scale, smaller spatial scale, then you need a regional model, then global model, then couple model. So in that way, it is there. And on these forecast products, we prepare, and it is disseminated to website and other users. Yeah, this is some examples. Whether whether location, which location particularly. This is the rainfall. This is the wind. Okay, so this is for your information. This is wind and rainfall. So which one will get heavy rainfall? That also we predict. So that accordingly we give it. And this is a cyclone. Funny that this is a track and this is the intensity. Means which area will hit. 5-7 days in advance we will come to know. Accordingly we will give the warning to particularly, yes, this is this belt, the cyclone is going to hit. But if you look at here 5 days before, that means when cyclone is here in the Bay of Andaman Sea, near Andaman Sea, that means entire eastern coastal region, West Bengal, Odisha, coastal Andhra Pradesh, vulnerable, and Sri Lanka. But we have to pinpoint 5-4 days in advance that where it will going to hit. Then only there will be effective disaster management. They can do the evacuation. Otherwise, if you say, it will cause Andhra, so entire resources will be focused on this Andhra, and we will miss. So we will not take any appropriate action, and a lot of casualty will happen in Odisha. That's why this forecasting of severe weather is very essential for the disaster management. But as I said, the climate change, since number of frequency, number of severe weather events are increasing, so this is a more challenging for us also to that. And in different time scale, even monsoon also, even there is a very active monsoon going to a dry phase. For agriculture, farming also, we have to give the warning 15 days in advance, so that they will not go for sowing. They can delay the sowing, or whether they will spray pesticide or not. If the rain is expected, they will not spray the pesticide. So this way we also prepare using the couple model. So in the couple model also we give this type of forecast for 3-week, 4-week forecast we give, so that for agriculture planning it is used. Now how this climate change and this prediction is a link, and why it is becoming more challenging, why it is becoming more challenging. So here if you see the climate increasing intensity and frequency of hydrometeorological hazards, increasing value of exposed element due to the development and demographic expansion. We are doing a lot of construction, population density increasing, so we are more vulnerable area. Now disaster risk management is critical component of climate change adaptation. That means the climate change is directly linked to the disaster management, and since it is adaptation, how to adapt this part. So that is a disaster management is critical component of climate change adaptation. So now for the weather forecasting also, we have to that means improve our forecasting, so that we can address this severe weather and more accuracy, more timely, early sufficiently leap time should be there to give the prediction. Okay, but in model also, earlier the model, when there are normal weather, more normal weather, there are no issue. But now since the forecast severe weather have increased, the model also accuracy also it is challenging. That is how accurately, whether it will be accurate to say that which area it will hit the cyclone, whether it will be very accurate, we can say that 20 centimeter rainfall will occur over the city of Bhubaneswar. So that type of accuracy is a very challenging, and models are improving, and we are also improving our forecasting capability. We are improving our modeling thing. At the same time, still there are challenging area because the location specific heavy rainfall or a cyclone or many pinpoints, still that is there, and models simultaneously, the models also improving, but forecasting also improving, but the user requirement also increasing. They demand now more and more. So that things is there. So that is a challenging area in the climate change action plan. So yes, so how now for service providing, so when we department like us, when we are dealing with the climate change adaptation, so we have to fine tune our forecast procedure so that the user sectors, all the users, those who are using our forecast, they will be satisfied and they will utilize the forecast correctly. So that's why, yes, this way we take all these things, synthesize, model run, numerical forecast, forecaster will sit here, they will examine all the model forecast, and then finally they will conclude to a end forecast, because the model is a numerical objective way. So some your experience also you can add, that is called value addition, then final end forecast, then it will go to the decision maker. Decision maker means, yes, those who are waiting for certain action to be taken, like NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, State Relief Commissioner. So they are the decision makers, what they will do. So we will provide that thing to, yes, such and such thing there will be storm surge of this height in that day. So then they will start the action. Okay, in that way, the disaster management will minimize the adverse impact of climate change. Okay, so and for that another step we are going ahead, that we are not only going to tell this much rainfall will happen, this is the intense cyclone will cross, but what impact it will cause, that also we have to tell. That means, yes, 10 centimeter rainfall, if it is there, it will not have the same impact over Mumbai and Bhubaneswar or Delhi. So different cities are having different geographic conditions, or this density of population, many things are there. So what is the impact it will cause? Okay, that impact also now we have to tell to the users, means cyclone, rainfall, intensity, heavy heat wave, all the things. So impact. So that is called now impact-based forecasting. So that along with the forecast warning, we also have to tell what will be the impact. Impact means of this particular severe weather for a particular region. So that is an additional thing we are adding now for all the severe. So summary of the first part, that what I just discussed, this climate change is leading to increasing frequency of extreme weather. So that you have seen it, how the climate change and how the severe weathers are frequency are increasing. So the risk of climate change are inequitable. With developing country like India will be impacted more. So climate change is happening globally. So, but it is equivalent developed country and developing country. So country like India will have more impact on this thing, because we are a agriculture country, we are the population density high, coastal vulnerability there. So all this effect, so our impact of the risk due to climate change will be more on this one. So we here is a prediction, as I mentioned. So this is a Ministry of Earth Science efforts, IMD working for improving the early warning, means how early we can say about the weather and accuracy, so that the using the NW model, so that the disaster weathers well in advance we can predict and provide to the decision makers. Then one more part we have adding, not only the early warning, but we are also going ahead with the impact-based forecasting, means what impact particularly will happen over a particular region due to this weather. Okay, so this way we are going for the weather forecasting part. Then since you are a student also, certain action plan. because actions, I also thought, let us have 3-4 slides toward the what we should do, and some knowledge means what are the agency worldwide and also in India, they are working towards this one. There are many in India. In India, also many agencies are already working on different aspect of this climate change. The Ministry of Environment and Forest is the nodal agency, but our Ministry of Earth Science, we are science part, we are dealing with this thing, prediction, science work part. Then when policy things, this Ministry of Earth Science, Ministry of Environment, they are looking at this thing, what policy government, because you have some of people already might be knowing there are some protocols which the signing means you are a signatory to the global community, so that you have to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. So that way the research part, Center for Climate Change Research in Pune, so many institutes are there dealing with and in worldwide also UNFCCS. So this is the agency they are going for. And in the sustainable development goal of that is paper action plan, what action we should do, because we cannot prevent climate change, or but we have to do some mitigation part, so that action plan, so the climate action plan. So that's why that policy are there. And target, which are miss what target, we have to go for green fuel, that means green energy. So how we different aspect we have to go, so to the mitigate climate change. Okay, as a student also, yes, save energy in home, walk, cycle, use public transport, carpooling. Okay, reuse, reduce, recycle, repair, refuse, use renewable resources, use eco-friendly, avoid plastics. So these are the certain thing, awareness, and also we have to create among the students, school, college, so that because each one of us can reduce at least up to some extent, can contribute toward the minimization of this impact of the climate change. Yes, you have to use solar thing, then public transport, so that emission vehicles will be reduced. Okay, by these are the things. Use solar energy. Now government is also emphasizing this. Okay, wind energy, solar energy, so that your this pollution will be less. Carbon dioxide emission, what is happening, will be very less. And yes, plant trees, reduce CO2. So these are the some of the things that awareness student also can do, that home in in your locality, some part of that means you can do, and we must give some message. That's why I thought in the science, along with the science part, I should give some message also to the students. So that's why I have shown this slide. How can the student, as a young generation, do the needful? The young generation can give a contribution for climate change. This initiative can be started at home only. You start for turn the light off when you're not in use. Use renewable energy. Okay, follow this recycle. Okay, and then you avoid plastic. So this way we can contribute. And this is my campaign. And this is my last one slide. So this is a campaign. Means this is awareness. How to motivate people. How to create awareness, because people are not thinking that they are affected. This is something else. I have nothing to do, but it is not like that, because each of us has some responsibility. So you have to campaign, meeting, then awareness, creating awareness. Okay, these things are required. Okay, so then with this thing, I conclude my talk. And yes, if you have any questions or any discussions, I am ready. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for your invaluable insights on the topic and wonderful presentation. We all have learned about various aspects of weather, predictions, disaster, risk management, mitigation, adaptation, and of course, for the message of 3 Rs. So now I'll request all the participants, if they have any questions, we are open for Q&A session. So, sir, with your permission, I would like to put question that I have received in the chat box.
Sure.
Yeah. So, the first question is why we have cyclones in Odisha increased over the years?
Why the cyclone in Odisha? Can you just, there's some breaking. Can you repeat again the question?
Yeah. Definitely. Why cyclones in Odisha is increased over?
Yeah. Okay. So with the cyclone part, like a tropical cyclone. Actually, if we see the cyclone over North Indian Ocean, let us say North Indian Ocean means affecting entire our Indian coast, even Bangladesh, all this, that we call it cyclone, because whatever cyclone is forming over the Bay of Bengal, it can go to any state or Bangladesh, Myanmar also, and Arabians. So in general, we have very less number of cyclone over this one. And Odisha recently, some of the cyclones, intense cyclone, Odisha, yes, had cyclone has crossed over Odisha, but it is not that Odisha is cyclone frequency increasing over Odisha. Actually, it is not. It is not there. When we are doing analysis, if you see long-term statistic, there is actually a decrease of cyclone. But yes, one point is true that recent year, some of the cyclone are very intense cyclone that is coming. But still we have to, this is a part of the climate change or not, I mean, that still we have to see, because the overall frequency number in a season or year, that is not showing very significant increasing trend. But coming to the intense cyclone in some of the recent time, but there is a increase in that, but not particular to Odisha, that there is a increasing, but since we are getting more intense cyclone, that's why we are thinking that it has increased. Number has not increased. Number there is no increase in number. But yes, one point is that some intense cyclones are now we are getting more over the Bay of Bengal.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering the question. Sir, we have another question. What is cloud burst and can it be forecasted?
Yeah, so what happened in cloud, if you see the cloud, actually when the cloud is there, so it contain your liquid water. So it is just like a balloon is there, and if you put excessive air on that thing, it will burst. Okay, it will burst. So similar thing during the monsoon season. That means when the very high humidity, lot of moist air and convection cloud is taking place over, particularly over a mountain region. So that cloud, whatever cloud is there, it will have more liquid water inside this. So once it is more liquid water is inside the cloud, then all of a sudden that their downpour, it is called downpour, that is called cloud burst. So that will come cloud burst. So that will happen in mountainous region in the monsoon season with very limited lead time, because it will not have a very long 3 days, 2 days in advance, 3 days you will be able to say. Okay, so for that forecasting, that's what I am telling, challenging area of the forecasting. But what we can do, what we are doing also in a mountain region, in very small case, yes, we are monitoring that one. We are monitoring through radar, we are monitoring through satellite, so that when something is growing, your convection is very going deep clouds, then we'll come to know, yes, this is very deep convective cloud is growing. So yes, it can have a very heavy rainfall, downpour like cloud burst in at least tomorrow or something. So that way monitoring part also is very essential, and prediction part, because prediction part is there, yes, when we will give the input, but monitoring, if you are continuously monitoring, something can happen within a day. So that part also you can monitor continuously every 10 minutes. Radar can give the input every 10 minutes. How that cloud, how it is growing, how the size is growing, how the liquid water content is growing. Once you get this threshold value, you can warn. So that next 2-3 hours it will be cloud burst. So very short time. That's why we will monitor properly and give the warning. But long-term prediction, with well in advance, this that is very difficult for predicting this type of thing, cloud burst particularly. But cyclone case, at 7 days, 8 days, 10 days in advance, we can predict it. But because it is slowly forming over the Andaman Sea, then. But cloud burst, it will have very less lead time. Within 1 day or something, it will develop. So we have to monitor, and that's why we are putting more mountain region. We are putting our radar observation for that purpose.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
I request participants, if they have any question, you may drop in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask the question to sir. if you don't have any, and in future, if you have, so you can contact us. We will connect you to the sir.
Sure.
But Max,
Okay,
one
sir.
question.
Yeah.
So in general, what we see, a lot of activities in Bay of Bengal and not in Arabian Sea,
Yeah.
especially cyclones and others. So the numbers are much more in Bay of Bengal and
Yeah.
lesser in Arabian Sea side. So on the western coast of India.
Correct.
So is there any geographical or meteorological region for that?
Yeah. Yes. Basically, first of all, if one thing is that the cyclone in northern hemisphere generally it moves from in the northwest direction or west. Let us say west. Okay, to our west direction. Correct. So in that sense, when any cyclone is forming over Bay of Bengal, it will come to Indian landmass more. But Arabian Sea, if cyclone forming, some of them will go toward that Arabia region, or if it is recur, it will come to the India. Then coming to the number of cyclone, as you said, Bay of Bengal is more, Arabian Sea is less. It is, yes, geographical also. This Bay of Bengal is already high temperature. Sea surface temperature is very high. Okay, and second thing, your Western Pacific. If you go slightly east of the Bay of Bengal, okay, east of the Bay of Bengal towards the South China Sea region, South China Sea, and also West Pacific, that is Pacific Ocean western side. That is the actually main zone of the tropical cyclone. Okay, over that thing, very high number of tropical cyclones are always forming throughout the years. That is the main area, because actually our Indian sea we get very less. So what happened when the Northwest Pacific, South China Sea, more number of cyclones are always forming throughout the year. Some of them come moving toward the westward and come to the Andaman Sea, Bay of Bengal. So automatically, when it is coming there with even as a weak system, it will further intensify there because of the sea surface temperature. So many cyclones are, in fact, we call it remnant of the system from the China Sea and West Pacific, that is coming as a remnant to the Bay of Bengal, and again it is intensified. So that is additional thing. In addition to that, there are simultaneous in situ formation, means there itself also cyclone will form. Cyclone because of the high sea surface temperature, and there are another parameter also there. So that is favorable more in the Bay of Bengal. So that's why that in situ formation is there. That is not there in the Arabian Sea. And in addition, some of the cyclones are also coming as a remnant from the Western Pacific to the Bay of Bengal. So that's why the number is more over the Bay of Bengal compared to Arabian Sea.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again, sir, for answering those questions and for the great presentation. It was a great pleasure to have you here today. Dear audience, we are concluding our first session, and now we would be starting with our next session by Dr. Amulya Panda. Sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your excellent talk. Students are going to learn a lot from it.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks for your time, sir. Thank you very much for taking out your time for this talk, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good noon, Amulya, sir.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Definitely audible, sir.
Oh, okay. Hi, Prashant. Oh, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too, sir.
So let me share my slide first. Let's get the hitch first, then I'll talk. Can you get out of that slide, or I can load? I can share my screen. Hello.
And my colleague at the end we will take.
Could you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see your slide.
Could you see? 1 minute. Is it moving?
Yes, sir, it's moving.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So we are heading towards our next session by Dr. Amulya Panda, sir. So I will take the opportunity to introduce sir. Dr. Amulya Panda has obtained his MTech degree from IIT Madras and PhD from IIT New Delhi, India. Dr. Panda has rich experience of more than 30 years in different areas of bioprocess engineering. Sir is experienced scientist with demonstrated expertise in fermentation technology, protein purification, in particular refolding of inclusion body proteins and vaccine delivery using biodegradable polymer nanoparticles. Highlighting his scientific contribution in the area, Sir, innovative protein refolding method has been accepted by the scientists worldwide for high throughput recovery of bioactive proteins from inclusion bodies of E. coli. For his significant contributions, Sir has received many national and international awards like Samantha Chandrasekhar Award, Biotech Product and Process Development and Commercialization Award by DBT, awarded DBT associateship to work at Nebraska Medical Center, USA, awarded Young Asian Biotechnologist Prize from the Society of Biotechnology, Japan. Sir have credentials of generating highest number of IPRs while working at National Institute of Immunology. Sir has more, 32 patents, 145 publications, 15 technology developed, and 3 trademark products, which is truly inspiring. We are pleased to welcome you here, sir. Now, I'll request Dr. Panda to take on the session further and enlighten us with the topic. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you for your nice introduction. At the outset, I'd like to thank Bhubaneswar City Knowledge Innovation Center, Dr. Mrutyunjay Suar and Dr. Prasant for reaching me and giving me this opportunity. As you told, I worked in National Institute of Immunology for last 31 years. Last year, I retired from NII, and currently I am working on Panacea Biotech. To many people who doesn't know Panacea Biotech is one of the leading vaccine manufacturers in the country for last 30 years. In fact, if you remember, we have cleared polio in this country, and the manufacturing company who supplied polio vaccine, almost 10 billion doses for National Immunization Program is Panacea Biotech. Okay, with this, let me tell you what I'll be talking. I'll be talking about history of vaccine, how it is important to know the history if you want to know to do future. Then while talking about vaccine, I'll tell about what are the components of vaccine. Those days are over when 200 years ago, we are just getting the pathogen, killed it, autoclave, and inject. But the new modern biology has moved. So vaccine has gone beyond the pathogen to purified antigen, adjuvant, TLRs, delivery system. So that's what I'll end up having new vaccine development. So let's begin. But before that, to the students, let's put some facts about vaccine. Vaccine is very important. It is said, if you don't breathe, you will die in 2 minutes. Air is important. If you don't drink water, maybe you will live for 1 month, but you will die. If you don't take vaccine, you will die within 1 year. Remember, almost everybody is alive today because in the childhood, the moment we are born, we are given vaccines, DT, TT, hepatitis, measles. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
I'm muted.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I cannot, something went wrong. I cannot check my, I cannot run my slides probably. Is it moving? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. The other thing is, unlike drug, the vaccines are in use for last 400 years. And the beauty of vaccine is in last 400 years, there is not a single case of vaccine resistance reported. That's the beauty of vaccine. There are 30 odd vaccines for 80 odd pathogens. Still some vaccine has to be developed. But the most important thing is when you feel sick, you take drug, and drug act locally, maybe for a period of time. But for vaccine, generally you take once in lifetime. Remember, you take only TT, DT, hepatitis once in a time, and then you are protected for lifelong. And that's the beauty of vaccine. You take one. Of course, we'll talk about COVID, which doesn't give protection for a more than a year. But generally, other vaccine, whether it is TT, DT, hepatitis, measles, you get immunized, develop antibody, and you get protected for the lifelong. And most of the time, the vaccine act on an antibody dependent process. You immunize, you get a neutralizing antibody, and you are protected. And this is last 400 years of vaccine. In fact, before the smallpox vaccine was developed by Edward Jenner, in India and in some European countries, people used to inoculate the dead virus, what happened last year. Like in India, particularly in the coastal areas from West Bengal to Odisha to Andhra, these Vaidyas, what used to do is they used to collect the pus. Suppose somebody has smallpox, they will collect the pus and keep it in the house for a year. Next season when it comes, they will take this dead pox and rub the skin and inoculate. It is something like killing or attenuating the infectious organism and then using as a vaccine. But the real thing started coming from smallpox when Edward Jenner discovered the cow made. I'll talk about that. And first time it is Louis Pasteur who could show that for any vaccine, a live organism is needed. That's around 1885. Then slowly all the started vaccine come, the kill vaccine, toxoid vaccine, and combination vaccines. Then people start growing cell culture vaccine. Around 1970, the polysaccharide-based vaccine came. Till that point, till 1960, people thought vaccines, the antigens which create or produce antibodies, mostly proteins. But around 1970s, polysaccharide vaccine come, like typhoid, pneumococcal, or meningococcal. Then glycoconjugate vaccine came. The first recombinant vaccine came where a recombinant antigen can be produced in a yeast around 80s with hepatitis B. Then the therapeutic vaccine came, then the reverse vaccinology came, and finally a vaccine based on RNA, nucleic acid came, all you know, in 2020. Let's go how the vaccine developed. In fact, it is Edward Jenner who discovered this phenomena in 1796 when the person who was infected got protected because of cowpox, and because the cow Latin name is vaccine, the name vaccine came from Jenner, in which he could demonstrate that the same cowpox which has been infecting the cows can be inoculated to a human being, and this person, the person called James Philip, was protected. This was the concept which Edward Jenner developed in 1796. But the real thing came when Louis Pasteur could develop by culturing chicken cholera as well as rabies vaccines. In fact, after Louis Pasteur, many vaccines came, but the real vaccines came on polio, who was developed by Johann Salk and Sabin. Johann Salk developed a heat kill vaccine, whereas Sabin vaccine was live attenuated vaccine. And because of these two gentlemen, we have been able to remove polio from the world. There are very limited cases. In fact, starting from Jenner to Louis Pasteur to Johannes to Sabin, these are the pioneers who developed vaccines in older time. But the real credit for developing vaccine goes to Maurice Hillman. I don't know whether you know this gentleman. He worked in Merck as a scientist, and in fact, he has developed more than 40 vaccines. It is told that because he has developed vaccines for measles, mumps, hepatitis, and many other diseases. He has saved more people in this earth than anybody else. In fact, he is called as a vaccine magician. It is told that whatever organism he has hold, he has made a vaccine out of that. In fact, Merck company now set up Muri Silman Research Center across the world. One of them was in Delhi, recently shifted to things. So this is, anybody who want to know how to make successful vaccine, read Muri Silman, his papers, his biography. It will give an idea how modern vaccines can be made. And to tell you, this is what the importance of vaccine. This is the BCG vaccine. Look at the date. This was made in 1931. It is almost 90 years. The same vaccine is used. One of the beauty of that vaccine is, even if it takes time, it is used for centuries. I'm sure the same vaccine which my grandfather took for TT or DT, my granddaughters will be taking the same vaccine. That's why the vaccines, once you develop, takes very long time in clearing the pathway. And this is how, because of vaccination, the smallpox doesn't exist anymore. That is the beautiful contribution of vaccine. Smallpox has been eradicated, polio is almost gone, and other diseases are coming. And because of the vaccines, you see, previously people were dying of diphtheria, measles, mumps, pertussis, rubella, tetanus. Now see, ever since the vaccines for diphtheria, measles, look at the number of preventable diseases has reduced almost very little. Now, almost, if you follow the immunization program for diphtheria, measles, mumps, nobody dies if you have taken a vaccine. That's the beauty of vaccines. In fact, look at how the life expectancy has increased in last 100 years for the introduction of clean hygiene, vaccines, as well as clean environment. Look at around 1700, it was around 40 years, around 1900, it became 60. It is expected, because now with COVID and with all nice sanitization principle and practice and developing COVID vaccines, we have become so sensitive, and we have become so responsive. Our lifestyle will change, and it is expected by 2050, the normal lifestyle, normal life expectancy will be more than 100 years. That is how really the contribution of vaccines on increasing the human health. This is all about the importance of vaccines. Well said. It is very simple in principle, but very difficult to make. HIV came to this world in 1985, still no vaccine. In fact, only last month, the first clinical trial using mRNA vaccine for HIV has started. Dengue was reported in 1943. It almost takes 60 years to develop a vaccine. Till now, there is no vaccine against SARS or MERS. Flu vaccine, the great Spanish flu, like the COVID vaccine which came, the Spanish flu came in 1920. Till now, we don't have a complete curable flu vaccine. We have a seasonal vaccine. Mumps vaccine was developed in 4 years. Corona vaccine, which got emergency existence, we'll talk about that maybe in 1 year. And the why we took small time developing corona vaccine, because we have a tremendous improvement in proteomics, genomics, all these things in understanding the disease sequence. That's the beauty of vaccines. And why it takes time? You see, developing an antigen or a pathogen is not this only step. Once you develop a pathogen, you need to make these 10 steps. You have to have a proof of concept, you have an expression system, you have a process development, you have a facility, you have manufacturing facility, you have supply chain, assay, chemical, all these things need extensive research. That's why you not only you have to improve, do clinical trial to do the efficacy, but you need to do how it affect the body and other metabolism. In fact, if you see, the real challenge is on discovery, clinical stage, manufacturing, clinical assay, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. In fact, if you see, phase 1 is just a safety, phase 1 is only immunogen. The real challenge is phase 3, where you do large scale clinical trial on wide variety of population. That's why this developing a new vaccine takes almost 1 to 2 to 3 years, because all these clinical tests, thanks to modern biology as well as technology, the discovery, preclinical, manufacturing, clinical assay can be done in 6 months' time. But only thing, if you do a phase 1, phase 2, 3 in a coordinated way, maybe you will be able to develop a vaccine in 2 to 3 years' time. That's what we did for COVID-19. In fact, to the student, how does the vaccine work? It exposes the patient to the antigen. An antigen is nothing but a biological entity. It can be a live or inactivated substance derived from pathogen, and once it is introduced to the body, it produces an immune response, mostly antibody, and because the antibody stay in the body, it provides protection for a longer time. So to come out how it is very, as I told, it's very easy to say how vaccines are made, but it's really very difficult. There are two things. If you say anything is vaccine, it has the two attributes. Number one, it should be giving neutralizing antibody and in the appropriate correlate of protection, and it should give memory antibody. Memory means you should get vaccinated once. Like we are immunized with TT or hepatitis, depending on the dose. But once you are immunized, we get memory. Unfortunately, for COVID, we don't get memory. And that is the complexity of these viruses, because they keep on changing and mutating. Please remember, successful vaccine having desirable immune response and memory are only available and only possible when the pathogen is fixed. If the pathogen keeps changing, like shifting, it's drifting, like you must be hearing nowadays, you get different mutants of coronavirus, then it is very, very difficult to make a vaccine. It's something like you have a football game going on, you keep changing the goalpost. That means if when the game is on, you cannot change the goalpost. It's the same situation. So if the antigen is changing, the virus is changing. That's why we are not able to develop a vaccine against HIV, because you must be heard this coronavirus keeps mutating every 3 months, 4 months. HIV virus mutates every day. That means the pathogenic component which creates disease is changing. So that means you simply cannot develop a vaccine, because by the time you develop a vaccine, the target is changed. The other thing which part of the vaccine is an adjuvant. Adjuvant is a substance which is used to enhance the immune response of the vaccine. Please remember, when you take a drug goes and act alone, it binds to the receptor and do all its pharmacological effect. But for an antigen or a molecule to work as a vaccine, this need to be present and processed to the antigen presenting cell. And that presentation and processing is enhanced by use of adjuvant. So previously, the vaccines were only antigen, because previously people are using only dead organism or attenuated pathogen as a candidate vaccine. As the recombinant DNA technology came, people start making pure antigen, which are poorly immunogenic. So the people started using adjuvant. Alum is an adjuvant. But so antigen and adjuvant, and of late in last couple of years, another new concept has come for successful development of vaccine. Apart from antigen and adjuvant, it is the kinetics of release. The antigen, how it is released to the immune system, that decides, because that controls the germinal center and somatic hypermutation, which helps in producing memory B cell or high affinity producing B cells for long-term protection. So 3 things are important for vaccine: the antigen, the adjuvant, and the kinetics of release, because you need to deliver the antigen to a proper antigen presenting cell for enhanced immune response. So we will talk about the antigen, which is the part of the vaccine, the adjuvant, and kinetics. I'll just touch on this. And the most important thing is discovering the antigen. If you don't know the antigen property, it will be very, very difficult, because the antibody is generated against the antigen. So 3 major components of the vaccine: the antigen, the adjuvant, and the delivery system. And adjuvant can be alone or a immunopotential. If you look at the antigen, it can be live attenuated virus, it can be a kill virus, it can be a toxoid, it can be a subunit protein, it can be a virus-like protein, like the things. It can be a polysaccharide conjugate, it can be a viral vector. like the Covishield, which is the AstraZeneca vaccine. It can be a nucleic acid vaccine, like the RNA vaccine of Moderna. It can be a bacterial vector, or it can be antigen presenting cells. In fact, if you see with the modern technology, now previously the pathogen was, or the kill pathogen or the attenuated pathogen was considered to be the antigen of interest, but now it can be a DNA, it can be RNA, it can be a viral vector, it can be bacteria, it can be a dead organism, and anything. In fact, this is very easy if you know what the pathogen is. Like for example, corona, we immediately realize the entry of coronavirus to the cell through ACE2 receptor is the real cause of disease. Then we knew the RBD portion or the S1 protein of coronavirus is responsible for entry. So all the pathogens, all the vaccines which are developed last 2 years, whether it is Moderna or Oxford or things, are aiming to produce neutralizing antibody against corona vaccine. The Covaxin was a attenuated organism where the S1 protein is in the surface. Moderna vaccine is mRNA expressing the S1 protein, where the Covishield, which is the adenovector vaccine, where the S1 protein is expressed using an adenovector. But that was easy because we know where the pathogen is, what component of pathogen causes disease. But for example, you take a disease where you don't know which pathogen is causing, or there is not a single pathogen, there are multiple pathogens. Like tuberculosis, we don't have a vaccine because we don't know what really causes disease. Suppose where the pathogen is changing, like HIV or flu, or the outbreak is there. But and again, for older people where there is no T cell, how do you develop a pathogen? How do you develop a candidate antigen? For example, for vaccine against chronic disease, for antimicrobial resistance, for cancer, you don't know the pathogen, the sequence. You know that this organism causes. For example, Streptococcus pneumonia. There are 80 serotypes of Streptococcus pneumonia which cause pathogen. How to pick up the antigen unit? In fact, that's where the new science come. For example, take this difficult pathogen, Bacillus, or Streptococcus pneumonia, E. coli, Neisseria meningitis, or Streptococcus pyogenes, Hemophilia influenza. These are different multiple serotypes. You cannot, it's very, very difficult. That's where a modern biology has come into place to pick up what are the sequence of pathogen which can be used as an antigen. I'll give an example. This is how reverse vaccinology takes place. It is Streptococcus. What you do is you take the whole genome of the pathogen, do in silico, sequence the whole genome, take out the epitopes of the protein sequence, clone them, express them, evaluate immunogenically, and out of hundreds and thousands of genes, pick up particular protein which really give you neutralizing titer and use them in animal experiment. If found successful, you can make a vaccine. I'll give an example how Neisseria meningitis vaccine was developed. Till now, meningitis vaccine is made up of only pulsacride, 4 serotype A, C, Y, W. People are working on a pentavalent, but this company wanted to make a recombinant-based vaccine. What they did is they sequenced the whole meningitis. Out of that, they found 570 protein. All proteins cannot be cloned and expressed. Out of 570 protein, 350 were cloned. Only 7 were confirmed to be the surface of the meningitis bacteria, which are able to produce neutralizing antibody. Out of 7, 4 were mixed and in vaccine. This vaccine, Bexero, is a vaccine against meningococcal B, which consists of 4 protein. It is the first vaccine developed using reverse vaccinology. So in the future, new proteomics, genomics, bioinformatics, genomics, the system immunology, artificial immune system used to develop antigen. Once you develop which antigen is essential for developing vaccine, you can keep on developing adjuvant and delivery system. So this is important, antigen. Then the adjuvant, as I'm sure many of you know, each vaccine use an adjuvant which enhance the potency of the immune response. And the most widely used adjuvant is alum, which was discovered in 1926. In last 90 years or so, 3-4 more new adjuvant has been developed. One is MF69, which is 59, which is emulsion. Then there is virosome, there is MPL, Recently, the COVID vaccine, which Bharat Biotech uses, Covaxin, use another adjuvant. It is imidazopinolene. It is a TLR7 agonist activating the immune system. So many adjuvants have been used. And in fact, if you see over last 80 years, all these vaccines, starting from, look at this, these red color vaccines, it doesn't use adjuvant, whereas the blue color vaccines, like pertussis, diphtheria, hepatitis B, influenza, cancer vaccine, meningococcal, all of them use vaccine, which can be either adjuvant or a combination of MF59, which is nothing but a squalene or emulsion. So adjuvant is important. And in fact, apart from adjuvant, antigen adjuvant, what is important is a delivery system, because as I told you, the vaccine antigen need to be delivered to a antigen presenting cell, and for delivery you need the vaccine antigen as well as the adjuvant to be entrapped in a matrix, in a nanocarrier system, which can be specifically targeted to antigen presenting cell. You can use liposome, microsphere, mineral salt, many things are being used. I won't go on details about these things, but what I'll tell you that when you use this nanoparticle based delivery system, what it does is this nanoparticle based delivery system take the antigen and the adjuvant and deliver intracellularly. Once you deliver intracellularly, you can induce T cell response. You can use many other things. In fact, these are the many advantages of using a nanoparticle based delivery system. In fact, what has been recently shown, when you have a slow delivery system using nanoparticle, it enhances germinal center. Remember, germinal center is the real place where memory B cells are generated, which gives long-lasting antibody response. So, three things are important: the vaccine antigen, the adjuvant, and delivery system in a nanoparticle way, so that the antigen is present and processed, particularly at the lymph nodes where germinal centers form, and germinal center is the real warehouse where memory antibody producing cells are generated for long-lasting immune response. In fact, if you see all the current COVID vaccines, whether you take Moderna or Covishield or Sputnik or Covaxin, all are nanoparticulate. Moderna and Pfizer vaccines is nothing but lipid nanoparticle entrapping the mRNA of COVID RNA. Covishield is a viral vector-based vaccine where adenovirus is used to deliver the S1 protein. So adenovirus is a nanoparticle thing. Sputnik use human adenovirus, and Covaxin is nothing but inactivated virus. The virus is coronavirus, which is inactivated by autoclaving or by chemical treatment, but the virus retains its size. It's around 100 nanometers. So this all proves, apart from antigen and adjuvant, the delivery system is important. That's why the Moderna vaccine or the Covishield or the Sputnik or Covaxin is giving us good neutralizing antibody titers from immunization. So at the end, it is the antigen and the adjuvant and the delivery system, three combined to give a modern vaccine, which are much better than the old age vaccine of whole cell vaccine or attenuated vaccines. In fact, in the coming year, what new evolution is coming to develop new vaccinology, the combination vaccine, the adjuvant, and the delivery system, which I told you, using liposomes, using lipid nanoparticle, polymeric particle, and as I told you, how reverse vaccinology with the aim of artificial intelligence, which is of system biology instead of sequencing, and system vaccinology can really give you the antigenic epitopes, which in combination with adjuvant will give you a new development vaccine, which will be useful for more pathogens, which we still are struggling to make a vaccine. In fact, if you summarize, the new vaccine technology is coming up, starting from 1700, 300 years back, we are using only killed vaccines. You take the pathogen, kill or inactivate, use as a vaccine. Then in 80s come the recombinant DNA vaccine, hepatitis B, pertussis, human papillomavirus. Then came the glycoconjugate vaccine, where the carbohydrate is conjugated to a protein. Then come the adjuvant, human papillomavirus. Then the reverse vaccinology is used for making meningitis. In this current scenario, new technology of bioconjugate, structural vaccinology, nanoparticle, therapeutic maps, RNA vaccines, this will be extensively used. And once all this new technology comes, we started using more vaccines. And once we started taking more vaccine, we'll start reducing the number of antibiotics. Remember, the antibiotic came around 1940s, and because antibiotic were killing the infectious agent, the stress and development on vaccine was lowered around 1940 to 1980. And because we started using extensively the antibiotic, we end up producing antimicrobial resistance, which is a big challenge nowadays. So we believe as on we keep on developing new vaccines, new immunotherapy, we will be using less antibiotics, less infectious agent to kill the organism, and we will be moving towards more immunotherapy. That's what the new vaccine development technology will tell. I'll tell you, I'll end you giving, this is the chronology of option for vaccine treatment. If you see, let's see how last 100 years we have treated the disease. In 1920s, they were Sarvatra for any infection we were using. Then 1940 came during World War II, we used antibiotics. In 80s came biologics, then human monoclonal antibody. Now in 20s comes cell therapy. I'll talk about cell therapy, and now in future it will be ATMP. It is advanced therapeutic medicinal product. In fact, around 1940, when the antibiotic comes, they don't work anymore. Then came the vaccine. In fact, nowadays people are using cell therapy, immunotherapy for treating infectious disease. Cell therapy or immunotherapy is nothing but using live cell for treatment of infectious disease. In fact, cell therapy is a combination of monoclonal antibody, vaccines, and transplantation technology, what medical doctors use to transplant cell or blood or doing things. So cell therapy, in which activated T cell, B cell, tumor-infiltrating lymphocytes, or diseases or the engineered T cells are grown, made, and infused to the body so that the activated T cells take care of the immune system. It's more or less augmenting your immunity rather than doing. And that's what advanced therapeutic medicinal platform will come in future. Advanced therapeutic medicinal platform is a combination of gene therapy, cell therapy, and tissue engineered product. So unlike in 20th century, where our interest was mostly if you have an infection, kill the bug. Now the paradigm is changing. Rather than killing the bug, it is heal the body. Make yourself your immune system more competent by changing the gene, or by replacing the cell, or by replacing the tissue. Suppose you have thalassemia, you can use a beta thalassemia gene therapy to take care of things. You have infectious disease, you can change B cell, T cell, engineered T cell to take care of the infection. Or if you have a body part like tissue engineer, you have diabetic, rather than taking insulin, engineered beta cells are there, will take care of your insulin. So in the future, this gene therapy, cell therapy, tissue engineer, all based on immunological principle or antibody principle will be available. So the real thing will be heal the body rather than killing the pathogen. It is something like a modern Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, we are taught heal the body rather than killing the pathogen. In fact, that is what coming up in the future. So in the future, along with what we have learned from pandemic, the idea is make yourself immunocompetent. Control your immunity, protect your immunity so that you can handle. It is like prevention is better than cure. So I'll end. Your immunity is your right. Society immunity is your right. Do the right duty. Improve your immunity. Stay protected. Stay healthy. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening session, and of course for the amazing presentation. We have learned in detail about vaccination, right from history of vaccine development and working principle. And we have also learned about what are the challenges, why it is difficult to develop a vaccine for difficult pathogens like TB and HIV. Sir, with your permission, I would like to put on questions that we have received from our
Sure,
audience.
sure. So should I log
Thank you,
out?
sir.
No. I'll get out of the slide slow, maybe.
Sure, sir.
Okay, let me slide show. How do I go?
So you have to stop sharing.
Why is that? Slides 2. I don't see this podium. Okay, let me see. In slideshow, you go and then, no, I'm not getting that.
Stop sharing button. Sir, you can just move your mouse just below the screen, and I guess you can find there.
Okay, let me see. You could see me?
Yes, you're.
Okay, maybe you can keep asking questions later.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Anybody want to ask question? I can.
Yeah, definitely, sir. So the first question is, what is your view on long-term safety of mRNA vaccines?
Well, because we are in the pandemic, we have just used the mRNA vaccine. And am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, because of the pandemic, we are in the middle of pandemic and we use mRNA. But actually, when you develop a new vaccine, that's why I told why vaccine take 3, 4, 5 years. Actually, vaccine will be tested in animal models and in monkey, and it's tested in the next generation. There is a subject called teratology, where you immunize the animal and you look for their pups, what is happening to their biology, physiology. So until that data come, you cannot say about safety. As of today, nothing much adverse has been done, but that data need to come. It comes, see, you give the vaccine, wait for a couple of years, look at the thing, then only you will be able to know. Till today, it's very difficult to say, but till now, it is looking that it is doing the job.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have another question. Do we have different potency for oral or nasal vaccines over injectables? And if injectables can be converted into nasal or oral vaccines, it will ease the infrastructure required.
No, see, you have to understand for nasal and oral, you give oral and nasal only when the pathogen of interest is in the outer surface. For example, for cholera, you can take oral because it is in the intestine, or maybe this COVID vaccine. But you need to develop antibody in a systemic manner. For that, you need intramuscular injection because you need circulating antibody so that this virus doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it is too early. Maybe the virus is going to lungs. That's why people are using nasal formulation. But if at all the virus, apart from lungs, go to different parts, there are indications that it is affecting brain, it is affecting other parts, liver and many things, then you need systemic antibody that nasal and oral cannot give. Nasal and oral gives mostly IgA, whereas systemic immunization give you IgG, which is highly neutralizing antibody. So unless the proof of principle is in, it is too early to say that whether a nasal and oral will work. Oral, again, because basically oral vaccines are not highly promoted because one should take it unless you have a neutralizing solution. The chances that the vaccine component may degrade in the stomach pH and it may not give you a desirable immune response. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Eh,
Thank you for
Any more question?
answering the question. Yes, sir. So, sir, as there are many technologies for the vaccine development, like right from live attenuated to reverse technology to recombinant vaccination. So, does this
No, I'm not able to hear you.
technology has any effect on safety and efficacy?
No, I didn't get your question.
Okay, sir. Let me repeat the question. I think
Now I
there
can. Now I am.
is some network issue at my
Can you
end.
see me now? I come to the. I have stopped sharing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ask. Am I audible?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes. Tell me.
Yes, sir. You are audible. Sir, I had one question. Like, there are many technologies for the vaccine development, like live attenuated, reverse technology, recombinant. So, does this technology has any effect on efficacy or safety?
No. See, for each pathogen, as I told you during my talk, um, the major component of the vaccine is the antigen. If you know the antigen is fixed, like for example, hepatitis B, we know hepatitis B surface antigen is the only portion. If you can make antibody against it, the virus is completely protected. So what you do is you take the gene, clone, purify the protein, and produce in a recombinant DNA technology way. But if you don't know which antigen component is exactly giving the neutralizing titer, for example, maybe pneumococcal or maybe this coronavirus, we know S1 protein as on today, but the nucleocapsid, the other surface protein may be there. For them, you can do the way the technology is developed. So it is a multiple choice available now. If you know the target antigen, you can use a recombinant DNA technology. If you don't know the target antigen, the best way is what Bharat Biotech developed. Take the pathogen, attenuated it so that it doesn't infect, and immunize it. You will get a broad neutralizing titer. So each technology has its own pros and cons depending on the pathogen, the sequence and availability and easiness you can make that. Because at the end of it, what is required is a neutralizing antibody titer, and that titer will come if the respective antigen is used and immunized along with the adjuvant and is delivered to the place where antigen is present and processed. As long as that takes place, it is independent of any technology, as easy. Like this COVID vaccine, there is a recombinant DNA vaccine, there is a viral vector vaccine, there is a RNA vaccine, vector vaccine, and there is a whole cell vaccine. Everything works. Of course, something works 60%, 80%, 90%. There are other parameters also, the environment, the population, the ethnicity, the gene composition, all other things matter. But in general, more or less, if you can make it, anything should work. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir,
Great.
for answering the question. Sir, since most, so I mean, if you could share your insights on herd immunity.
Mm-hmm. Not able to listen.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me repeat the question. Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I am able to hear you. Your voice is not coming. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
But I am not hearing you.
Okay, sir, let me drop the question in the chat box.
Okay, great. Do that.
Sir,
What you want to know
am I
about herd
audible?
immunity?
Uh, just the basics. I mean, most of our audience are not from biology background.
Okay.
So
See,
just a basics
it's like
about
this.
what
It's like this.
is
I'm
herd
explaining.
immunity.
I'm explaining. Suppose you have a coronavirus. You know you have um, you use a mask. You carry the virus, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Suppose you carry the virus, but you go to a place. Suppose I am in Delhi and I am
Can
going to Bhubaneswar.
hear
I carry the virus with me, but in Bhubaneswar, everybody is immunized. Everybody has neutralizing antibody. So the herd is already immunized. Even if I am carrying the virus, I will not be able to transmit the virus to another person. So that is called herd immunity. Herd immunity means in a society where majority of the people are immunized, so they don't so so they don't allow the other person to infect. So the connectivity or the chain of infection is broken, and because of that, the virus doesn't spread. So herd immunity is developing immunity through people, either through vaccination or through infection, so that everybody is protected and doesn't act as a carrier. Like I am infected, I go to a place, I infect others. But if the other person is already immunized, he will not carry the virus. So the infection chain is broken. And that way it doesn't spread. And that is called herd immunity. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you
Okay.
so much, sir.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
It's
thank you
like
again
a
for
relay race. If somebody is missing, you cannot complete the relay. So it's herd immunity is like that. In between a person, it's not because he is immunized, he is not able to transmit the virus. So virus stay where it is, and overall immunity is there, and the disease doesn't spread in the community. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
Great.
again for answering those questions and for great presentation. Thank you for sparing your invaluable time and helping our audience know about the topic.
Great.
Yeah, thank you again.
Great.
Dear participants, we are ending the session and we will join for our next session by Dr. Namrata Mishra at 3 p.m. Thank you. Oh, मुझे तो लगा आज आप मुझे दिखे ही नहीं। ठीक है, everyone, and welcome back to the second day of Science Week Festival, Vigyan, Sarvatra, Pujyate. So now we are heading towards the third session of the day, and I welcome Dr. Namrata Mishra ma'am, who is a head by innovation at KIT TBI. I'll take the privilege to introduce ma'am. Dr. Mishra has been actively involved in promoting innovations in life science and startup ecosystem across East and Northeast as head bio innovations
Vandana, you're
at
not
KIT
audible.
Technology Biology Business Incubator, KIT University. She has handheld more than 100 biotech startups, innovators, researchers, including faculty members, postdocs, doctoral and master students. For detailed writing of the projects, research proposals, scanning for call of proposals, presenting them to the funding agencies, and winning the projects to the detailed execution of technology or product development. Dr. Namrata has been a catalyst in creating innovation ecosystem by setting up technology enabling centers at KIT University, supported by DST and BIREC Regional Center at KIT TBI, focusing on East and Northeast states of India. She is also a member of BCKIC, supported by PSA, Government of India. She is an active mentor to students, startups, and faculty members to better their innovative interventions from perspectives of customer centricity and commercialization through industry readiness, scalability, and market outreach. She was selected for fully sponsored technology transfer training conducted by STEM and organized by National Biofarm Mission, DBT. She is a regular speaker in various entrepreneurship development programs across the universities and institutes in the country. Recently, she received the prestigious Odisha Young Scientist Award 2020 by Science and Technology Department of Government of Odisha. With this, I welcome you, ma'am, again, and I request you to take on the session forward. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Vandana, for your warm introduction. Happy to be part of this initiative. So without much ado, let's start the session. Dear participants, a very, very good afternoon. I believe we have more students in this platform. And I know that after lunch sessions are too difficult to handle with so much of online classes happening, especially for students for past couple of years. I know students who have already learned the trick to be present online, but still not being up there. You know, how to score high in the online test. No, it's good, nothing bad in that. I see this is like adapting yourself to the changing environment or the survival of the fittest. And most importantly, being creative and thinking out of the box. And that's what we'll be talking about for the next 1 hour. But before you grab your pillow, I am sure you must have taken a very scrumptious meal and doze off. So let us do a small test just to keep your adrenaline cortisol level high. So this has no relationship with your exams. No one is going to score you. So students, please take a paper. I guess my slides are moving. Yes. So if you have a paper with yourself, draw this pattern as you see in your screen. 9 dots equally placed. Now the test is, without lifting your pencil, you have to draw 4 and only 4 straight lines that connect all the 9 dots. I repeat, without lifting your pencil or pen, whatever you have right now, you have to draw 4 and only 4 straight lines that connect all the dots. Okay, so I give you 10 seconds. It's very easy, just try out. Okay, time's up. Without seeing your paper, I can see all your sad faces. These difficult, right? I'm sure you must have tried these patterns.
No, ma'am, I know it.
Sorry?
I know how to do it.
Okay, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
you are the person who is thinking out of the box. Very good. Let's see. I'll show you in my next slide what is the right answer.
Ma'am,
And
it is like an arrow.
okay, is this
Like-
okay, for people who have not done yet, just think out of the box. Okay, is this
Yes,
the
ma'am.
one?
This
Is
one.
this
Yes,
the
ma'am.
pattern?
This one only. This one only.
Yes,
Right.
perfect. So you are a different person. You are thinking out of the box. Okay,
No,
so
ma'am. Sir only told my other school. Sir only told how to do it.
oh, very good, very good. So this is for people who have not done it. The correct pattern is this. So I told you from the very beginning that you have to think outside of the box. Okay, but we all assumed that we need to stay within the boundaries. But the solution was to think outside the box, to break the box. You could have drawn the line from anywhere from, you know, in the paper. It need not to be in the boundary within the dots. But again, what is this box we are talking about? Is it a gift box which we desire to get every day and we wait for that in our birthdays? Is it a pencil box that we take to school? Is it I don't know why my slides are not moving. Okay, is it a toolbox which is done to repair machines, or the very common chair box which is absolutely not comfortable to sit, especially for fat people, okay, like us. So this box could be anything around we see, any square object, or in simple words, any object that has a specific boundary or wall. In simple words, if we can describe. So again, coming back to the same question, that is, what is this box that we are talking about? We say thinking out of the box, and how do we think out of the box? So I don't want to bore you saying all theories, but today I'm going to say how to push your boundary. But the problem in most discussion on thinking out of the box is that we focus on so much outside the box that we forget the most fundamental thing about this exercise is, what can anyone guess? Which is the hero when we say that think outside the box? What is the most fundamental thing in the sentence? It's a box. Okay, you can't think outside the box unless you have a box. And you'll always forget that. Forget the importance of the main hero of the story, that is a box. So let me show you how you have encountered this in your life. Now, for example, if you have been asked by your English teacher that write an essay, well, how long it has to be? On what topic? This is a question that you will definitely ask. But you get an answer from the teacher that you can write as long, there is no restriction, there's no word limit, and on any topic. I'm sure you all will think that the teacher has lost his or her mind. But think if the teacher says, write an essay on independence or on anything, you know, on cow or your school, and it should be of 200 pages, 200 words. Then it makes sense because the teacher has given you the box, the limitation. As a teacher, I have seen that the more I limit the students, the more I contain them, more they become creative, right? So we all like rules because rules are made to break it. We think creative strategies to not do what we are supposed to do. Let me tell you, all children, they love to be said no, because that gives them the scope to show that I am more powerful than you. When I say my daughter that you don't have to do that, that makes, I see that naughtiness in her eye. the kind of sense that I get that, okay, mom, I'm not scared of your warning. I'll show you what you think I cannot do. So the reason I'm giving you this example is that box is important. You need to place creative limitations on yourself and make the challenges more challenging. And now I will tell you a couple of rules to embrace the box. So we have been talking about think out of the box, and now we understood that box is very important because that is what will make you creative. So how to embrace your box? Rule number 1, know your box. I'm amused with people who don't know what their box is. If I ask a kid, a 10 years old child, what do you want to be in life? And this is a very common experience with my daughter. I never get a constant answer. You'll hear one day that you'll get an answer that I want to be an astronaut today. Tomorrow, I want to be a painter, then a yoga teacher. Wow, of course, yoga teacher nowadays is a good job. It's a good professional. You will mint a lot of money. And also someday you will listen that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. So that's very common because today everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, right? But if you ask which business you want to do, you will get all strange answers, which is difficult to bring to reality. Now you'll ask me why? Because you need to know your craft. You need to know what resources you have. You need to understand what is your strength, what is your weakness. The SWOT analysis is very, very essential. And with that, you have to embrace your box. Embrace each and every bit of it. I mean, embrace your strength, as I said, embrace your weakness as well. Never grumble that had I been Ambani's child, I would have done something out of the box. Or else, had I been in US, I would have outshined everyone. So think if Lata Mangeshkar would not have embraced her box, embraced her singing skill and tried to be a doctor or a mathematician, we would have missed our living Nightingale, right? So it's very, very important for us to embrace a box, embrace the resources that we have, embrace the skill we have, embrace the situation that is currently we are at. And then you push that, you push a box, you widen your skill, you widen your strength, you widen your resources by being creative. And then finally, you go out of the box, you be creative, you create a new box. And then the last point, the word that you see at the back of the shampoo, that is repeat. In other words, you have to go back to number 1, like you have to find the box. If you don't, and then again, you have to embrace your box, then you have to push your box. You have to keep continuing pushing it outside, and you have to build a new box. Because if you do not build a new box, if you do not try different, then you become redundant. You become predictable. The same thing that has happened recently to a Bollywood movies, where it becomes very nothing unexpected, becomes very predictable. We understand, we know the story, the climax, what is going to happen when the movie starts. Because the same kind of plot that we are seeing. So the crux is we all desire a box if for whatever reason, just to think out of the box. Like if your parent says, do whatever you want to do and allows you to choose anything you want, I'm sure you'll be lost. You'll be clueless. But if your parent gives you something, maybe you don't want to be that, but at least it gave you some box, some baseline to think the pros and cons, some scope to do an analysis and to get out of the box. So that idea of the box will make you think creatively, will make you think differently. Let me give you a quick example. So for example, I give you a clock, okay? And I say that replace the second hand, the red color second hand, with something. Anyone want to take this? Anyone want to answer? You can unmute yourself and go ahead. Okay.
Ma'am,
sure
like replace with what?
No, I said the question is the
Yes, ma'am.
second hand, the red color you see in the watch, the second
ma'am.
hand has to replace with something. It's just a random example I'm giving you. For example, you will say with a needle or a toothpick or a matchstick, which is something of same size and structure, right?
Yes.
But if you're a bit creative, then maybe you will say with a spoon or something else. But how do you get that 5-point answer? I say, you know, to score the highest, to be in this, to score 5, to show that you're most creative, you have to think something different. But it's not that easy. But imagine if I say that the second hand needs to be replaced, which is something very soft, which is something very light, then your creativeness increases and you will say that, okay, this could be replaced by a feather, it could be replaced by a grass or a lily, so, or a flower petal. So all of a sudden, your brain starts thinking differently. Because
Ma'am, if we remove it totally.
no, that's very important, right? How can we remove the second hand? I'm saying you have to replace it. Okay, it has to be replaced, not completely remove it, discard it. So first, and this is again, you have to listen to the question very importantly. Okay, that is also I've been discussing how communication is an important aspect when you are thinking out the box. Okay, so my question was at the beginning, I said that you have to replace something, not ever discard it. Okay, so the idea is to think out of the box. If you have to think with limitation, okay, because if you are given complete freedom, you think of the expected clash that your mind starts assuming things which you have learned from the childhood. But if you give yourself a boundary, if you give yourself a limitation, then you think differently, you think creatively, you go out of the box. So what exactly is thinking out of the box? How to go out of the box? I'm sure you must have heard this word design thinking. How many of you have heard about it? I'm sure many of you must have heard this design thinking is now is a hot topic, is a buzz. But the word design has always been a funny word for me. People who design aeroplanes, they say that we are design engineers. Architecture who design homes, they also say that we are designers. Fashion designers say they design clothes, jewelry, but all are quite different people, right? Some are analytical and some are much more artistic. So then what is design thinking? Is it about creativity? Sorry, the slides, there is some problem in the slides. It is not, if there's an animation, it's not showing up. Anyways, so is it about creativity? Is it about designers? Is it about design? Or is it about a process? So what is design thinking? Basically, I would say it's a process of 5-layered, stages. So let's go one by one, the 5 main steps of the design thinking process. The first is empathy. It's a feeling. which is the first step to design thinking process. It begins with the human, your customers, your end users, your stakeholders for whom you want to design for and help with your solution. See, for example, if a fashion designer designs a shoes, only thinking of the color, the fashion, or the leather he is going to use, and don't give importance to the comfort of the wearer, the customer for whom he is building, then hardly people can wear that shoe regularly. Maybe on some fashion occasion, but not on a regular basis for a long time. So it is very, very important to empathize with your customers, with your end users. And how do you do that? By 3 words, that is observe, engage, and learn. So observe is, you have to observe things around you to understand the common problem statement in a day-to-day life, which if solved will have a huge impact. You have to be very keen observer. It's not about really say the thinking creative, thinking something very innovative ideas. You don't have to think something of rocket science, which is not beyond the scope, absolutely not required. But rather, if you focus on your current surrounding, your situation, and then see something very challenging, which if you feel that it is actually a need of the hour, if solved will have an impact, then that is an unmet need. The second is you have to engage. Sometimes we call this technique as interviewing or effective communication. Okay, I'll discuss about this later, about communication, what is a very, very important aspect of, when you're thinking out of the box. You need to talk to people to learn the pain, which will allow you to go deeper, which will allow you to learn the reason for the problem statement, the reason for the challenge. It will allow you to go deeper into the problem statement, right? So this was the step 1, is empathize. Second step is define. So what you have to define? You have to define your scope. So what does scope stands for? S, the situation and problem. What is the situation? What is the problem that you are trying to address? That definition has to be clear. Constraint. What is your risk factor? That is, what is the challenges that you feel as a hurdle that will stop you in achieving this solution? What is the limitation of the current solution, which is there already in the market? Objectives. What are the objectives? You have to figure out, these are the key steps that I am going to do. These are the activities, these are the objectives that I need to fulfill to reach my final goal. People. Here there are 2 people, the people for whom you are building, your end users, and the people who you would be communicating, who you would be working together, the team who will be helping you to reach your objectives. So people is very, very essential. Teamwork, it's all about teamwork, right? Estimate, that's also very important. I said that you have to embrace your box, you have to embrace your resources, you have to embrace situation. So you have to understand that what is the current resources you have, right? What is the input, the raw materials which is required and which is easily available, which you can get it. And with that, you have to ideate. You have to generate a lot of permutation and combinations of various multiple ideas which can solve that particular problem. And the fourth is prototyping. You have to translate your ideas. Prototyping, it's all about translating your ideas to reality, to give shape to your idea. Idea is in your brain, right? But you have to make it from your tangible outcome, something that people can visualize, something that you can start communicating with. That's the reference, that's the prototype. You can test it also with your end users to get the feedback, whether it is working, whether there's a lacuna, what needs to be improved. That all thing can be done when you have a prototype, when you have something tangible outcome of your idea, may not be the last one, maybe may not be the desired product that you are aiming at, but the first stage of your product development journey. So this is a donut example. It looks very yummy, but this is actually the entire product development pipeline and journey looks like this. So once your ideas are freezed, you know that this is what I'll be working upon for next 1 year or whatever timeline that you fix for yourself. You need to start working on building a prototype of your idea. This is basically the foundation of your product. Okay, maybe a CAD image, maybe alpha prototype with whatever minimum resources you have, with whatever maybe a team, be it raw materials. Then when you build it, you test it. You ask feedback from mentors, you ask feedback from your friends, end users. Then with their suggestions, with their the feedback that you get, you build it further to refine that prototype. And then you build a minimum viable product, which looks very close to your desired product or the final product that you are thinking. And it is very close to be launched in the market. Then again, you further iterate, you give it to your customers, you give it to your friends, you ask them about the tested, validated, which is one of the testing and validation. Then you reiterate, keeping in mind the user perspective. And finally, your market ready product, which you feel that it is now, it is sellable, it will attract customers, there will be people who will be ready to spend money to buy my product, is developed. Right? And in this entire process, one very, very important aspect is testing. Testing is important because it gives you a scope for improvement. But how do you test? You don't have to test yourself, because again, you become biased. Of course, you have to test it in your lab, but you also have to discuss with the end users for whom you're developing the product. And the best way is a need identification survey, where you ask a couple of questions. You prepare a questionnaire that these are the things that I need to ask whosoever using my product, and see how is the response, whether they're liking it, what is the pain, whether they're satisfied, what exactly they want for the improvement, what is the expectation, what is that they are not happy with my product, and what is that they want to see some improvement. So these all things, when you test it, when you validate it, a lot of clarity come to your mind. And this will, your testing, your validation will give you a scope for substitute. Okay, if you think that this component is not attractive, let's substitute this with something else. Combine, if you feel that, okay, you have developed this, but it could be combined to the original product, and something better will come, or you can adapt it, you can modify it, will give you a very strong reason, a base to modify it, to put it in other application. You might be thinking, because since it's your idea, sometimes we become so obsessed that we don't see think differently. We don't see in the customer-centric perspective, whether it could be applied to other fields or not. That's the reason we always say that when you write something, a novel, we give it to somebody else who is nowhere related to that subject to read it and give a very fair feedback. Okay, so these all things, you can also have a very strong reason to eliminate it. If you see that some of the components, they are not that user friendly, they're just adding more cost to your product. And if you just get rid of it, it becomes more lighter, it becomes more easier to use. And in that way also, you are reducing the cost. I'm just giving you random examples. It's just that you have to put it in your idea when you are thinking. You have to put all these points in mind. And then if you see that things are not working the way it is, you have to go back and then again rebuild the pillars with the same foundation. That's how the process is all about. So this is, I have an interesting video to show where students implement all the steps to think out of the box, to come up with solutions for their common problems. I hope you will like this video. It's a very short video. I hope this video is audible. I don't see it actually. Can anyone prompt, is this video visible and audible as well?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible and
Our
visible.
bags
Perfect.
are
Enjoy
all
this
the
video. It's
same.
very interesting one.
Bags go missing. Bags and tags get mixed up. We keep mixing up our bags. We discuss possible solutions to the problem in groups. We came up with lots of ideas. We discussed our ideas and voted on our favorites. We discussed the good points and bad points of each idea. We chose the best ideas. Our idea used Maker's Empire to design our own 3D bag tag. We worked out what we wanted as design feature. We decided it needed to be strong, have a loop to attach it with, be between 5 and 7 centimeters long, mean something special to you. We worked together to practice using Maker's Empire. We helped each other. We taught each other what we learned.
We printed some practice designs.
It was fun to watch it working.
So you are
We discussed
iterating it.
what worked well, what needed improvement, and gave feedback to each other. We worked really hard on our final designs. We tried to make sure we used all the design features.
When we were sure we had it right, we printed our bag tags.
We added some color to our design. We evaluated how we went. Our idea worked.
Now we never mix up our bags.
What we learned.
See, these are the essence of what we have been discussing. You have to work in team, you have to do the design process, you have to give feedback, you have to test your idea, you have to keep a lot of parameters in mind which will attract the customers, because customers are sensitive to price, so cost economics is also very important. So this was the student. I hope you liked the video. It's simple problem statement but justified, right? So let's see examples where students like you all, they have developed fantastic ideas, and these are some of the interesting and very impressive innovations by students of various schools across India, and which are worth knowing, which are worth applauding. Let's have a quick overview. Now, suppose you have a pencil and I say that you have to think differently. How can you upgrade a pencil, right? Anyone of you want to take a chance? Okay. You can say that, okay, I'll add a sharpener to it, I'll add a rubber to it, to ensure that the lead doesn't harm anyone. I'll put a cap to the pencil also. Or maybe something that you don't need to sharpen. It's a lot of things you can imagine. But how about plantable paper pencil? Like if you put seeds at the back of the pencil, and when you your pencil becomes exhausted, you don't have much to write, and just throw it away in soil, and there the pencil grows into a plant, into a tree. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that environmental friendly? And also you think of something which is biodegradable. So these are the ideas, which is making a big impact, and such ideas have actually been funded. Similarly, I'm sure when you're going back to your school, and you must be missing your school bus days, and we all love to put your hand outside the bus, which is absolutely very, very risky and not healthy, not safe. So this small student of class 7 of Saraswati Shishu Mandir Bhubaneswar, he understood this is actually the problem statement, and but we are a person, we cannot just get loose of a habit, we get used to a habit of putting a hand outside the bus. So can be an alert system for the bus driver, which will enable the bus driver to see that if somebody has become mischievous and is putting his hand or head outside the bus, there would be an alarm, and you'll get a no, something no sound, or the bus driver comes to check you not to do that again. Similarly, this is a nail polish watch, which indicates any kind of, if your drink is spiked. I'm sure this in Bollywood movies, this kind of scene is very, very common. So think if the heroine gets to know that the drink that she is drinking is spiked because of some indicators that is present in nail polish, then the entire story, the plot changes. So that's also a wonderful idea, where two students of Devi Chandrasekhar Bhubaneswar, so they have come up with such an idea. Similarly, if we have red, blue, green, yellow, right? So you think, the blue color light, if you think there is a fourth color in the traffic light, which indicates that the road ahead of you is very jammed, and then it will give you a scope to think to take a different route and to avoid that congestion and time lapse. So that's also a wonderful idea. All these are doable. It's nothing that you have to think out of the box or something like rocket science. It's a common problem that you face in a daily life. You just have to be a keen observer. For example, in a rickshaw that we see in Orissa, where old people, they find it really difficult to climb up. Okay, it's not that easy to climb the rickshaws because it's very the height is too long. So if you put a small folding stair which is attached to the rickshaw, it becomes easier. So that's the simple idea this Mansi Priya has come up, which is actually very pertinent, and if solved, it'll make life easy. Traveling bag without folding seat, this is something which I personally, if it comes up in the market, I'm going to buy it, because when you're traveling and you really catch up in railway station or something very busy place, and you really want to sit to take some relax, and you don't have, and we sit on our luggage, which is absolutely it's very risky. Your entire bag can crash. So if you have a chair attached to the bag, then you can take a very short nap whenever you want to. Similarly, if this Ayushman, like the class 3 of KIT International School, I'm sure you KIT International students, if you have joined, you must be knowing this guy. This brilliant idea has come up, like if we all talk about you save water. So can we come up with a machine where the discarded soapy water can be reused again, which will save a lot of water. Similarly, this class 9, a young girl, Vaishnavi Patra, she has come up with a watch, a wearable device, which can alert the elderly people, the geriatric people about the right time to take medicine. That's also a pretty good idea. Similarly, if we can have a hand-driven waste picking and dumping cart, which will save a lot of time, which will save a lot of effort. So that's also something that it's an idea that has come with a student. A crutch, which is shock absorber. You have seen, people, the challenge people, they find it very difficult to walk. So if you can come up with a crutch which is easy to use, then of course that is also pretty much an innovative idea. Similarly, a paddy filling machine, animal carcass picking machine. If you can just pick up the dead dogs and the cows that is lying in the street without much of human intervention, that also is something which we all will love to see such kind of machines in the market. Similarly, a detachable wheelchair, if you can build incline installation of water types at public places, a low-cost chironji decorticator, which will make this peeling and seedling of this fruits or these nuts very easy. It saves a lot of effort, it saves a lot of time and human intervention. So machine, innovations in machine, that's also a domain that's coming up. Similarly, dust collecting attachment for drill machine. For example, when you drill something, a lot of this waste, it flies around you. If you have something which will collect the dust, okay, when you are drilling anything, that also becomes very good. So the thing is that you have to think out of the box, but to think out of the box, what do you need most importantly? One word. Can anyone say what's the one word? I've used that word when I started my presentation, that I'll be talking about that later.
A box.
A box, we have spoken a lot about
Creativity.
Of course, is it creative? I can say yes, creative is a, but more important than creative, again, you have to think out of the box. Create something which is predictable, something that we know. Okay, it's communication. Okay, so talking is, I know, it's an integral part of our living. We talk to our colleagues at work, we talk to our friends, with family members, and also strangers. But do we communicate, and how is communicating different from talking? So talking, if I say, just simply refers to speaking words and sentences to pass on the message. Sometimes the message is understood, sometimes it is very difficult to understand and it is discarded. But communication is one step further in the process. It is the sharing of information between two or more people to come to a common understanding, right? It's just basically a two-step process where a sender or a speaker, and you need a receiver and a listener. So the speaker role is to speak clearly, and the listener role is to pay attention to the speaker. Okay, but very often people focus, we all have this habit of saying what to say rather than being a good listener and listening to others. So now, before we understand that why communication is so important to think out of the box, imagine a day without talking to anyone. Okay, you don't have to talk, it's completely, you have to keep numb. How would you like it? I'm sure you can just imagine a day. You can imagine a day without your without going to school or without reading, but without talking, it's difficult, it becomes boring. Because communication is the basis of all relationship. we communicate with others for a lot of reasons, with multiple reasons. For example, if you don't find your clothes, we reach out to our parents or mother for help. Similarly, we communicate with friends to share our joy or sorrow. We party, we communicate, and okay, this is something I have scored the highest in my marks, or I have come across this beautiful idea which I think I can. So we need to communicate. Likewise, we communicate with our mentors, with our team, with our friends, to share ideas, to exchange information, and seek help from them. So without communication, you cannot think out of the box. You cannot, even if you think out of the box, you cannot know what you're thinking, whether you are in the right direction or not, whether you are thinking aligned, whether you're thinking of the pros and cons, whether you are thinking in the right direction or not. So this communication is very, very important. And to communicate a creative ideas, we have to follow the 7 C's of communication. So let's see, what are these 7 C's? First, correctness. Make sure your communication or message that you want to share is accurate. Second is clarity. Be clear about the goal and the purpose of your message. It should be clear, like what is the aim, why are you saying this, your communication, what do you want to propose. Conciseness, how crisp, the more the crisper it is, the better it is. Okay, it is always keep to the point and keep your message short and simple. Have you seen the advertisement that we see in television? They are very short, of 20 seconds or 10 seconds. The reason being the ads are very costly. But in that 20 seconds, you get the entire story. You get they tell you that why you need to go to market and spend your money and buy the product. So the reason, it's so clear, it is so correct, to the point, crisp, that it attracts the consumers. Complete. Ensure the recipient has everything they need to understand. It should be a complete storyline. In your exams, you have seen that many times you don't get good high scores, and when you go to a teacher, you say that, okay, you didn't give the entire thing, you answered a bit of it, but you didn't talk about the background, you didn't talk about the working principle, maybe you have not spoken about the outcome. So always when you're communicating your idea, it has to be easily understandable. It has to be a complete storyline so the person can connect with you. You need to explain that why is the reason, what is the reason for you to come up with such a problem statement? Why did you pick this problem statement? How you are going to, what is your thought about how you're going to solve that problem statement? What is your approach? What is your expected deliverables? How you feel that it will have a market use? Who are the people who are with whom you're going to build? So that's a complete storyline. Right? That is how you will connect to your people. You can have an effective communication of your ideas that you're thinking out of the box. Then you have to be considerate. You have to understand the person, that it has to be flow in a very logical way. It should not be redundant. It should be very concise, very time limit. You cannot say that, okay, I will talk about my idea and I need 1 day of yours. Please, everybody, you're busy. So you need to develop the skill, like how do you communicate your idea, whatever your thoughts are, which you have come out of thinking out of the box in short span of time, but again, very crisp, very to the point, very concrete, and it hits the bullseye. Right, for example, in a story, in a movie, Bollywood movies, the commercial movies that we talk about, do we, even though we do not remember the entire plot, but we remember the few catch points. Like, for example, if I talk Sholay, if I say, have you heard, do you remember anything about this movie Sholay? What will you say? Any specific dialogue? If anyone remembers from the movie Sholay? Okay, the common dialogue. These dialogues, the hookup steps that generally the Bollywood commercial masala Bollywood movies has. So these are the USP, these are the catch points. You have to understand it. What are the catch points? What are the USPs that you have to highlight when you are communicating with others so that people remember you? Okay, when you're talking to someone, you'll remember, okay, that person who shared this idea, who is having this impact. So because you are creating an impression to the person that you're talking. Okay, so that's very important. Then courtesy. Your message should be very polite, very friendly, very professional, and should be open for feedback. Remember, anything, if your teacher, if your mentors, anybody who is giving you some feedback, judgment, is not about your person. Don't be vindictive. Don't think that they are targeting you. They are just supporting, they're helping you. It's their perception is about the idea that you're talking about. Is not you as a person. So think in that way. Okay, so you have to be very open when you are communicating, when you are discussing your thoughts out of the box with others. So remember, developing effective communication skill needs improving, not only about how you talk, about your speaking skill, but also, again, both your listening skill as well. So even if you are not born with the skills and you think that I'm not a good orator, I don't have this public stage fear, then certainly I say that everyone has the scope for improving, for speaking clearly. But also at the same time, you can develop this habit of paying attention to what others are saying. You have to be a better listener than a speaker. So if you have any ideas, or if you want find solution for your problem statement, you need to come out of the box. You need to communicate your thoughts to the right people, be it friends, be it mentors. Then only people can guide you, can support you, and help you out. So now, as you know, that we are all supporting young entrepreneurs, and with the startup buzz happening around, entrepreneurship is certainly a serious career option that all students can think of. There are a lot of opportunities by government, which is there, there are a lot of ecosystem are present, like incubators, where you can come, you can discuss your ideas with the mentors, and they can help you to take your entrepreneurial journey ahead. So these are the schemes. I know you spend a lot of time in WhatsApp and in your Facebook, but I just request young students who are present today, spend a little bit of time, go into these websites. The websites, I have put it in my screen. I can also share these slides. And you can get all the details from the website. There are a lot of opportunities there. You can get a GYTI award, you can get a Sitare Appreciation Grant based on your idea. They don't want a product to be displayed, it's just based on your idea, but how clear you are, how concise you are, have you done that analysis, a market survey, have you understood the problem statement? So these are the factors which you have to keep in mind, which I've discussed in my presentation. Similarly, this is the e-UVA scheme that I discussed. As also you can see the examples that I was showing, that these are the students who have been supported under this Inspire Award Manak scheme that's being executed by DST in collaboration with National Innovation Foundation. So this call opens once a year and it stays for 2 months. You have to, or if you have some interesting ideas, do discuss with your teacher, and if it is feasible, it is doable, they can certainly, your school can nominate you for this competition. So that's what I wanted to discuss. So if you are ready to take up the challenge, if you think that it's the right time for you to come out of the box, to think out of the box, then please, this is the right time. think in a different way. And any thing that you want to discuss, you can anytime you can reach out to me. This is my email ID. Thank you for listening me patiently. And now after this session, we have a very excellent speaker, Professor Gandhi, who will be speaking about something very interesting. So please be seated, and over to you. Vandana.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the immersive session and enlightening our audience right from ideation, how to think out of the box, to the development of minimal viable products, prototyping, process and importance of product validation, and most important, right way to communicate the idea. Also, I'm thankful for sharing innovative ideas by the kids, which is truly inspiring and motivation for many other students. Now I request participants, if they have any questions, we will take 2, otherwise we will conclude the session. Okay, so thank you, Namrata ma'am. On behalf of entire team, I take an opportunity to thank you again for sparing valuable time from your busy schedule. Having a diverse audience with us today, I hope it has encouraged and motivated everyone to explore new dimensions, whatever phase of life they are in. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks, Vandana. It's a pleasure interacting with the students, and I'm sure the next 1 hour also will be very interesting.
So, dear participants, now we are heading towards the 4th session of today. So, I welcome Dr. Tapan K. Gandhi, sir. Sir, can you hear me? Tapan, sir? Let me check. Professor Gandhi?
I think he's not there in the meeting. Maybe I'll give him a call.
I can see him in the participants, but I think I have to make a call. Dear participants, please be with us. We will start in another 2 minutes.
He's joining the white.
Dhruti, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please make sure sir is co-host.
Okay, ma'am.
Professor Gandhi?
Yes.
Yeah, sir, so shall we start now?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Yeah.
If your participants are not tired.
Okay, dear participants, now we are heading towards the fourth and the last session of today. I welcome Dr. Tapan K. Gandhi. I take an opportunity to introduce Sir. Dr. Tapan K. Gandhi is currently working as an associate professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Delhi, and adjunct faculty in the School of AI and Data Science, IIT Jodhpur. He is also a research affiliate to MIT, USA. He received his PhD fellowship from MIT, USA, and obtained his PhD in biomedical engineering from IIT Delhi. He has been awarded as an Inspire faculty by DST. His research expertise spans from computational neuroscience, brain imaging, assistive technology, biomedical instrumentation, machine learning, cognitive computing to AI. Sir has more than 150 publications in various top-ranking international and national journals. He has received many awards in India, including one from ex-President Dr. Kalam Sir for his academic excellence and groundbreaking research. He has also received Platinum Jubilee Young Scientist Award in 2015 by National Academy of Science in India and Yati 2019 award. His research work featured in many popular presses, including Time Magazine, the Boston Globe, the New York Times, MIT News, Harvard News, Wall Street Journals, and also in the Science Magazine. Dr. Gandhi's work was selected as a cover page in Science Magazine in 2015. Sir has 3 patents and 3 technology transfers to Ministry of Social Justice, Government of India. He is serving as an expert member in various research committees in Government of India, UNESCO, as well as he is a reviewer in many journals. He has delivered many talks in national and international universities like Harvard University, Yale University, MIT, and much more. Presently, he is a chairperson of Project Prakash Charitable Trust that helps in restoration of vision and providing education to visually impaired in India, which is truly inspiring. I welcome you, sir, and I request you to please take on the session forward.
Okay, thank you for this nice introduction. Good evening, everyone. If all of you allow me, I would love to speak both in Odia as well as in English. I want to mix because I know that I am going to talk to the school student, right? Am I right? They're all 10th standard student, 10th or 11th, something like that.
Yeah, majorly.
Okay, so I can imagine when I was a student of FM college, when I entered to FM college from a village school, that time, what was the difficulty? Even I was not able to follow English language. So that's why I feel that I should mix both Odia and English. Is this fine to all of you?
Absolutely, that's a way of communication.
No, I'm asking the student, those who are attending my talk.
Students, please be interactive.
Is it fine? कि मु ओडिया और इंग्लिश दुईटा मिसी की कुहे ना खाली इंग्लिश रे?
Yes, sir.
Sir, only English will be also okay.
Only English? Wow. तो मते लागुची ओडिसा रे वर्तमान पिला
No, sir.
Yes. Okay. Then more type रे भी किछि पिला अछो एटी. Okay, good. Okay.
All, sir.
Okay, good. I'll mix both English and Odia, right?
Sir, in that you can mix Hindi also.
Hindi also? No. I should speak.
Sir, Hindi and English would be better than English and Odia.
We should feel proud of our language. Even you should, feel proud that Odia is one of the this cultural language out of first six language which the government acknowledged, right? And in that language, Hindi is not there. So why you are not taking proud of your own language, right? तेणु आमे समस्त ओडिशा रो पिला आ ओडिया पई प्राउड फील करिया दरकार आ तेणु मु ओडिया मिसी कहबी नॉट हिंदी ओडिया और इंग्लिश राइट
Okay, sir, fine, sir.
Yes. So the first question I would like to ask you, why science and engineering important to us? Anyone can answer this question? कि let's say तमे माने 10th पढुचो +2 मु जानि ओडिसा रे जोन भलो पिला से मन चाहती ओडिशा रे +2 साइंस पढ़िया पई व्हाई साइंस एंड इंजीनियरिंग इंपोर्टेंट साइंस कोन पई पढ़िबा
So parents are saying that's why.
Sir, for getting higher jobs.
Okay, I'm very happy. ठीक आंसर देलो माने एइटे बेसी भाबंती जे हमें इंजीनियरिंग पढ़िबा earn kariba, right? Very good. Okay, let's say if I'll ask this question to all of you, I might get thousands of answer, and maybe someone will say that if we'll pursue science and engineering, we can earn more. That means we can earn in crore, right? And some of you will say that maybe with science and engineering, we can invent something new, or we can discover something new. Someone might say that I mean, you can give n number of examples, right? And definitely ei sob jetiki to mane answer dabo if I'll club them together mu taku division mane gote classification taku classify karibi, I can get only two answer out of it. The first answer is whatever you do in science and engineering to improve the quality of life. tome man janithibo human hoji sobutu selfish human ame moniso sobutu selfish ei bhagwan ko creation re jetiki jibo jantu achanti sobutu selfish hochi human. तेणु आम सब आम निज सब भावु केमी आम सुखर रू खुशी रू से भावु इवन when somebody told that I want to earn more, I'll get a very big job, that is also you need money to improve the quality of the life, right? That's true. And the same time when you are happy, then you do something else that I'll tell you later. Okay, let me show you. So we do science and engineering to improve the quality of the life, and the second one is we do science and engineering to understand the mystery of this universe. Ei jo sushti, you know, it's very very mysterious. Ame janinu ame ko bhale kotu asilu, au whether there some I mean human like creature exists in this universe, we never knows, right? So the biggest mystery hochi, just think about how today you are a human being, but we start from a single cell. तमे स्कूल ले पढ़ी विज्ञान रे जे गोटे सिंगल सेल सी डिविजन हेई प्रथम गोटे रु दुईटा दुईटा रु चारटा चार रु आठ आठ रु 16 एमिति डिविजन हेई किछि सेल सेटु हेई जिवो हमर हाथ किछि आखी किछि ब्रेन किछि डिफरेंट ऑर्गन एंड फाइनली आफ्टर 9 months we will be just like a complete human being, right? So this is also mystery. Just think about, if I'll show you my finger, you can see 5 fingers, right? 5टा आंगुली, and सबु आंगुली देखो समस्त गोटे पैटर्न तैयारी करूचंती. जस्ट इमेजिन मोर ए जे बुढ़ा आंगुठीटा बड़ी बड़ी चलिबो कोन हबो बड़ी बड़ी चलले इट विल लुक अगली, राइट? सो लाइकवाइज आई मीन जदि ए आंगुलटा माने ठीक एई भले कंट्रोल हे जदि न रही थांता एटा असुंदर दिसथांता. So just think about this kind of mechanism, that who is controlling this thing, who is deciding कि आंगुलटा केते दूर बढ़िबा कोठी बंद होबो, right? So these are all mystery and which we don't know, we don't have the answer. तेणु आमे साइंस इंजीनियरिंग एई पई पढु एई सब जिंसर आंसर काढिया पाई, right? So going back to the previous slide, तो एटी मु किछि किछि आइकन रखिछि तो माने पढि परथुओ स्मार्ट हेल्थ, ह्यूमनॉइड रोबोट, स्मार्ट कार, स्मार्टफोन, एवरीथिंग स्मार्ट, राइट? एमिति एते सब स्मार्ट हेछि हम भुवनेश्वर भी गोटे स्मार्ट सिटी हेछि, राइट? तो you know the difference between smart, I mean to whom we call smart, right? तो ए सब जिंस let's say smart car, when I'm talking about the smart car, तो मैंने जानी थी वो वर्तमान सब पृथ्वी सब बड़ बड़ कंपनी like Tesla, many big company, Amazon, समान समस्ते बहुत पैसा इन्वेस्ट करूचंती टू क्रिएट द ऑटोनोमस व्हीकल. ऑटोनोमस व्हीकल माने जो कार रे तुमे बसिबो आ तुमे ता कहिबो जे कोठी जीवा पई पड़िबो, तुम ड्राइवर दरकार नै से तुम
सर autopilot right?
No, autopilot kind of, I mean you
Yes,
right,
like
so,
we have to give signs.
Yeah.
The car will be
एटी को देखो ई कैप्सूल उडे लिखि ई कैप्सूल ता कोन लेट्स से उडे ई कैप्सूल होची जदी तो पेट भीतर किछि प्रॉब्लम अछि तमे जे खाद्य खाउछो सेटा उडे एलिमेंटरी कैनाल खाद्य नळी भीतर दे जाउची, राइट? तो तुम खाद्य नळले किछि उडे प्रॉब्लम हेछि ताको तुमे डायग्नोस करे पे चाहूछो एई पिल ए जे बा पटे देखतो पिल लिखिछि उडे ई कैप्सूल ई विल टेक दैट पिल सेई पिल भीतर बहुत कैमरा अछि छोट छोट कैमरा से कोन करिवो ना तुमे जदी से पिलटा नेला परे से तुमरो एलिमेंटरी कैनाल भीतर दे जीवो आ से स्नैपशॉट्स ऑफ इमेजेस पठौतो तुम बाहर को आ से इमेज देखि तुम जानि परिबो जे तुम बॉडी भितरे कोड कोन प्रॉब्लम है तुम एलिमेंटरी कैनाल भितरे राइट सो एमिति सब जिंस हम लिखि स्मार्ट होम यू नो वर्तमान सब घर आम स्मार्ट करि परिबो लेट्स से मु अमेरिका रही कि भी मु देखि परिबी मो घरे कोठी के बसला कि कोठी कोन स्विच ऑन अछि कि आई कैन कंट्रोल एवरीथिंग इन माय होम राइट सो दीज आर ऑल द गिफ्ट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी प्रथम आम साइंस यूज करिकी आम साइंस यूज करी तार फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल बुझू तापर से फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल को आम कन्वर्ट करू टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करिया पई राइट सेटा होची साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू ओके सो मु गोटे जिनस देखिया पई जाउची जते बेले मु भी साइंस माने इंजीनियरिंग कोन टिकी बुझी नथिली मु भाबुतली जे कोन करिवि राइट हाउ आई कैन कंट्रीब्यूट और हाउ आई कैन सर्व माय सोसाइटी सेते बेले मु भाबिली जे गोटे प्रोजेक्ट करिवि राइट प्रोजेक्ट कोउथरे प्रोजेक्ट करिवि आई डिडंट नो तो बेसिकली मु तुम कहया पई चाहूची एज ए साइंटिस्ट मु जते ओडिशा आसे पिलान को पचारे तुम कोन होवा पई चाहो वर्तमानी पचारिबि जदी तो मान कोइतर बेसी आंसर आसीबो डॉक्टर नहले इंजीनियर राइट
Sir, like majority will be go to on science only, like doctor, engineer.
हाँ, आउ कोन जानछो
Sir, like mechanical engineer, all sorts of things come by.
Yes,
down on science.
but say time ta गलानी actually you have to change your mindset सबटु बड़ कथा होची तुमे जहां भी करूचो try to do with dedication then you will reach the sky right doctor engineer not only the two domains तुमको जोटा भल लाउची सेटा करो and if you can do that with perfection with dedication sky the limit right even move the student थिले ओडिसा रे मु जानि मो बापा भी कहतले हां के कहतला डॉक्टर हे गले बेटर के कहतला इंजीनियर हे गले बेटर बट आई डिडंट नो कि कोन कोड हवा दरकार मु एक्चुअली बेसिकली सिंपल साइंस पढिछि एफएम कॉलेज रे मु सतले इंजीनियरिंग एंट्रेंस भी देनी मेडिकल पढिया पई के भाबिनी मु सिंपल साइंस बैकग्राउंड रो आछि राइट सो ठीक अछि सेटा परे कहि स्टोरीटा परे लेट मी टेल यू हियर तो जते बेले मु फर्स्ट किछि इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करे पई चाहिली मु भाबिली जहां भी करिवि मु केही लोक मान को पई करिवि राइट तो सेटु मु आई माने सेटु डिफरेंट दिल्ली सब बड़ बड़ हॉस्पिटल थाए मु सब हॉस्पिटल गली सेतल मु स्टूडेंट थाए माने मास्टर स्टूडेंट एंड आफ्टर विजिटिंग डिफरेंट हॉस्पिटल आई फाउंड अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम राइट सो ए साइंस और इंजीनियरिंग रो मेन तारो काम होची जते कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम अछि ताको हमें सॉल्व करिवा तापय हमें सॉल्यूशन काढिवा सेटा होची साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी रो मेन काम राइट तो मु हॉस्पिटल गली मु देखिली किछि लोको सेमाने को कोजे पैरालाइज्ड सुनितो पैरालिसिस हे जाय सुनितो गारे तो से कोन ना से कोन हुए एटा ए जे बा पटे पिक्चर में देखु जेटा होची स्पाइनल कॉर्ड तमे तो पिठे जदि टच करिवो मुंड पाखरु पिठी तळ जाय गोटे देखिवो गोटे जाको मेरुदंड कहंती राइट सेटा स्पाइनल कॉर्ड इंग्लिश में कोआ जाय
स्पाइनल कॉर्ड सर
यस से स्पाइनल कॉर्ड देखो डिफरेंट सेक्शन अछि छोटे छोटे ताको हमको वर्टिब्रा ए जे रेड कलर येलो कलर देखो
सर वर्टिब्रा राइट
हां सो वर्टिब्रा C1 C2 to C6 C7 C8 तापर थोरासिक सो वर्टिब्रा ना अछि सर्वाइकल थोरासिक लंबार सक्रल राइट आ एई वर्टिब्रा थ्रो रे आम ब्रेन ताको आम बॉडी रो डिफरेंट ऑर्गन को कंट्रोल करे जदि एई और एई वर्टिब्रा एई मेरुदंड रे किछि आघात लागे कि इंजुरी हुए तो आमे सही कामटा करि परिबा नाही लेट्स से जदि मोर सर्वाइकल रेड कलरटा पूरा डैमेज हो जाइतिबो तुमे बेको भी हली परिबोनी मुह हली परिबोनी किछि करि परिबोनी राइट तो आ जहार पूरा डैमेज हो जाइतिबो किछि माडो किछि एक्सीडेंट रे हो कि किछि कारण हो से बिल्कुल पैरालाइज ही पड़ रहिबो किछि परिबोनी आ या पई कोनोसी मेडिसिन नाही राइट तो मु जदि डिफरेंट हॉस्पिटल बुली देखिली एई जो मानकर एई प्रॉब्लम रु हेइथांती आ इंडिया रे एवरी ईयर more than 30-40,000 people are having this kind of problem काहे रोड एक्सीडेंट हुए केटी ऊपर छात्र गोली पड़ले कोटी गन माने के गोली कर देला एई कारण होंदी सो दैट प्रॉब्लम टच टू माय हार्ट काहे ना से सही लोक माने कथा भी किछि त अछि कथा कहि पारंतिनी चाली पारंतिनी तो मु भाबिली जे या पई किछि टेक्नोलॉजी तयारी करि परिबी कि जोटा कि लेसे धर मु घरे अछि राइट आ मोर दरकार पानी राइट सो मु पानी जदि दरकार मु कथा कहि पारुनी चाली पारुनी जदि से जिनसटा के बुझी कि मते पानी दबो ताले मु पानी पीबी राइट बट इंटरेस्टिंग होची जे मु कथा कहि पारुनी केमिति मो मेसेजटा मो माँ पाखरे पहुँचीबो कि मोर केयरटेकर पाखरे पहुँचीबो जे पानी दरकार बोली. So if we can do that, that can be a very big thing, right? Just imagine, तमे घरे अछो, तुमे चाली पारुनो, कथा कहि पारुनो, आ तुमको बहुत गरम होउची, तुमे चाहो फैन टा स्विच ऑन करिया पई, बट तुमे चाली के जाई पारुनो कि तुमे कथा भी तो मोहरु कथा ही बारुनी, तुमे केमिति कहिबो जे मोर फैन टा दरकार, पवन दरकार. सो सेही भले बहुत किछ प्रॉब्लम अछि. तेनु मु फर्स्ट भाबिली जे इज इट पॉसिबल एभला किछ गोटे गैजेट तयारी करिवि जोटार कि से जोटा भाबुची करिया पई सेटा करि परिबो, का करिवा दरकार नै. इवन से गोटे मेसेज भी दे परिबो कि मोर पानी दरकार, गोटे मेसेज चली जबो त पेरेंट्स पाखु आउ सेटा से अनुसार काम करिवे. तो सेही भले हम तीनटा डिवाइस से तयारी करथिली सेही लोक मानको पई. ओके, खाली गुटे देखो जी वर्तमान बिकॉज ऑफ दैट शॉर्टेज ऑफ टाइम. एटा होची ब्लो स्विच. मु देखिली जो माने एई भला डिसेबल्ड, यू कैन सी हियर जनकर फोटो एटी देखि परछो, दुई तीन जनकर फोटो एटी. तो जो माने डिसेबल्ड मु देखि से माने फू करि पारंदी, फू मारी पारंदी लाइक दिस, राइट, बट दे कैन नॉट स्पीक. तो मु हले जे फू, व्हेन somebody will give a blow like this, can I control any electronics gadget at home? मु लाइट स्विच ऑन करि परिबि ना नाही, फैन करि परिबि ना नाही, इवन कैन आई डिस्प्ले द मेसेज on some kind of display and गोटे बजर बाज जीवो, then जने जानि परिबे जे किछोट मेसेज अछि, right? And I develop a small gadget, you can see very tiny, small, which you can hold in your pocket, right? And says blow करiki तमे घरो सब किछि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स जिंसो कंट्रोल करि परिबो, right? And I developed this gadget in 2005. आउ एटी गोटे फोटो देखथिल खाइ 2006 माने एई वर्ष मु सब एसु टेक्नोलॉजी को हॉस्पिटल रे टेस्ट करथाइ पेशेंट मानक ऊपर, राइट. एटा गोटे दिल्ली रे गोटे हॉस्पिटल अछि, ता नाम अछि बसंत कुंज स्पाइनल कॉर्ड इंजुरी सेंटर. दैट सेटा अछि एशिया रे, एशिया महादेश रे सबु बडो हॉस्पिटल ए डिसेबल्ड लोक मानक पई. तो सेठी तले टेस्ट करे पई जाउ थाइ डिवाइस सब, राइट. डेफिनेटली केही पेशेंट बहुत खुशी हे जियो भी कि मो पई केही किछि तयारी करि, राइट. बट जेहेतु मु तार इन्वेंटर, मु जानिथिली एतरे ड्रॉबैक्स कोन थिला, लेक्युना कोन थिला. एटा ड्रॉबैक्स थिला जे ए सब डिवाइस, एक्चुअली एटा गोटे डिवाइस तो मु देखिली, सेटा तीनटा डिवाइस, तीनटा डिफरेंट टेक्नोलॉजी आई डेवलप. आउ व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू गो टू द hospital, I mean sorry, when somebody will use this device, they have to learn how to use this device, right? जते बेले सेही एई जिंसो तयारी करथि तते बेले गोटे जिंसो मो मंडू को आसला जे can I make my device, let's say just imagine this is my device, I'm showing you my mobile phone, let's say this is my device and which will help them to do their job, right? जदि मो ए डिवाइस टा डिजाइन करिछि आ लेट्स से डिवाइस टा एई जो डिसेबल्ड लोक आगरे अछि, सो से डिसेबल्ड लोक कोन भाबुछि, जदि मोर डिवाइस टा जानि परिबो आ सेही भलिया ताकू हेल्प करि परिबो, देन इट वुड बी वंडरफुल, राइट. आ ए आइडिया जते मो मन को आस्तिला सेते बेले इंजीनियरिंग रे गोटे डोमेन जा कहउछि आजकल आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस सुनिथिबो, राइट. सो एआई सेते बेले नुआ नुआ तयारी होता लोक करछन किछि काम जो वैज्ञानिक माने कि प्रोफेसर्स. तो मु से बेले किछि प्रोफेसर को पचाली आईआईटी रे कि हाउ आई कैन मेक माय डिवाइस इंटेलिजेंट, ए डिवाइस को कोबला मु इंटेलिजेंट करि परिबि कि जहार जोटा दरकार से सेही बेले बिहेव करिवो. देन दे सजेस्टेड मी दैट यू स्टडी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. तो जते बेले मु आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस भीतर को धीरे धीरे पसिली, मु देखिली जे जति कि भी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जति कि नॉलेज, these are not sufficient to create this kind of gadget, right? But slowly what I found, I fall in, I mean, okay, finally, I mean, at the end of this artificial intelligence, I found that I have to understand the natural intelligence. So, तुम जानि छो सबडू बड़ो इंटेलिजेंस ए दुनिया रे कोन? तुम मन सुनथि आजकल सबटू इवन आईआईटी, तुम जानि छो आईआईटी पिला मन सबटू हाईएस्ट दरमा रे चाकरी पांती, राइट, इन क्रोर्स, राइट. बट को एरिया रे जानि छो जो को एरिया रे पिलान को एक्सपर्टाइज थिले बेसी पैसा चाकरी मिले, सेटा बर्तमान होता कहउछि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, राइट. तो माने घर देखिथियो सुनिथिबो गुडे आस्ची अलेक्सा, अलेक्सा को जहा कहबो से सेया करियो. अलेक्सा मो पई गुटे ए गीत बजि दे, अलेक्सा आज सकाळ 7 बेल को मुठिया पई जाउछि, मते सकाळ 7 बेल को उठेबु आ एई गीतडा बजि के उठेबु. अलेक्सा विल डू द जॉब. अलेक्सा को पचारिबो, अलेक्सा मैं चाहूछि डालमा भात रांधिया पई, टेल मी द रेसिपी ऑफ डालमा. अलेक्सा विल टेल यू. सेटा गुटे एआई रो एप्लीकेशन, राइट. लाइकवाइज देयर आर मेनी. तुम माने सुनिथिबो जो आमरो humanoid robot, do you know the name of this humanoid robot which is very intelligent? Sophia. Sophia ना सुनिছো तो? कहीं सुनिছো
Yes, sir,
Sophia?
yes, sir, Sophia. It
हाँ.
is a robot, like
Yes,
it's
sir.
a big.
Very good, very good. तो सोफिया से एटा होची सब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ताबते दिया हिची माने से इंटेलिजेंस माने जो भला तुमे जानिचो आमे मनुष्य होचु सबटु इंटेलिजेंट एंटिटी इन दिस यूनिवर्स जोटा हम पचारतली वर्तमान नेचर होची सबटु इंटेलिजेंट आ नेचर भितर मनुष्य होची सबटु इंटेलिजेंट सेही पई आमे पृथ्वी रे राज करूचु राइट तो आमको के करूची आमो भितर कोडा इंटेलिजेंस सेंटर ना ई ब्रेन राइट ए ब्रेन हमको जो भलिया करै चलची आमे सेया करूचु आउ तुमे जहाँ देखुचो जहाँ शुणुचो जहाँ किछि करूचो सेटा ब्रेन हमको करूची राइट तेनु आमे कोन करूचु आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस माने होची जे नेचुरल इंटेलिजेंस को भले काम करूची ताको आमे मशीन रे जतोटे मॉडल आकार रे ताको रखुचु ताको आमे कहूचु एप्लीकेशन तयारी करूचु ताको आमे कहूचु आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस बट तार मेन सोर्स होची ए नेचुरल इंटेलिजेंस तेनु मु देखिली जे फर्स्ट इन ऑर्डर टू क्रिएट दिस काइंड ऑफ एआई डिवाइस आई नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द ह्यूमन ब्रेन और जदि मु ह्यूमन ब्रेन को बुझी परिबी then most probably I can create the right kind of intelligent agent, right? Then, okay. Then one question came to my mind. Another question. कि दुनिया रे जते प्रॉब्लम अछि सबटु बड़ बड़ प्रॉब्लम कोन बड़ प्रॉब्लम माने लेट्स से इफ आई टॉक अबाउट हेल्थ केयर तुमे जानि छ सबटु बड़ जिंस होछि हेल्थ लास्ट 2 वर्ष होला आमे घरु बाहरी परनु टिक राइट बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड काहे कि समस्त निज देह पय माने टिके जागृत हो जाइतिले जे बाहर को बोले कोरोना हो राइट कॉन्शियस है राइट तो ए जे हेल्थ रो जति की प्रॉब्लम अछि कोविड ता तुमे वर्तमान देखुछो अछि से पळै भी जाई पारे काई ना वैक्सीनेशन आ ये ता देयर इज सम क्योर बट तुमे जानि छ को रोग एबळे अछि जोटा की जहार कोनसी सॉल्यूशन नाही मेडिसिन नाही जानि छ एबळे किछि कोई परिबो ओके सो
Yes, sir. Can you repeat the question?
मु पचली जे हम हेल्थ केयर रे माने जतकी हमको रोग हुए जहां भी किछि हुए को रोग पाई कोनसी मेडिसिन नाही
Sir, is it COVID?
नो कोविड पाई तो वैक्सीन अछि वैक्सीन ता जल्दी आछि बोले हो तो बेसी इफेक्टिव नुए बट एक्चुअली इफ द राइट वैक्सीन विल कम इट कैन बी
Sir, yes, this spinal cord problem.
यस
Like this problem has no medicines.
आओ किछि
Sir, paralysis.
वेरी गुड आओ
Cancer.
कैंसर ओके ओके तुम सुनिथियो ना कैंसर डायबिटिक तुम सुनिथियो हार्ट डिजीज एबळा सुनिथियो सब राइट बट सबुटु बड़ प्रॉब्लम होची जे प्रॉब्लम ता न्यूरॉन सहित जुडी की थिबो न्यूरॉन माने ब्रेन स्पाइनल कॉर्ड न्यूरॉन
Nerves.
नर्व व्हाटएवर सेही रोग पाई कोनोसी मेडिसिन नै ताको कोआ जाय न्यूरो डेवलपमेंटल प्रॉब्लम्स आई एम शोइंग यू इन माय नेक्स्ट स्लाइड न्यूरो डेवलपमेंटल डिसऑर्डर इट आई हैव रिटन सम motor apraxia autism dyslexia epilepsy parkinson's right तो जेति की रोग न्यूरो रिलेटेड ता पई कोनोसी मेडिसिन नै until now ओके एटा बुझी गलो कोविड कैंसर ए सब पई किछि ना किछि मेडिसिन अछि आ गुटे मन रखते वर्तमान सब बड़ प्रॉब्लम जोटा होउची यंग जनरेशन भितरे आ जेटा की बिग मान ता पई कोनोसी मेडिसिन नै वर्तमान सुता भी स्ट्रेस और स्लीप So please remember one thing today. तमे माने केबे तोर गुड स्लीप साइकिल को डिस्टर्ब करिवो नाही. There is no medicine and एटा रैपिडली बॉडी चलची रैपिडली राइट माने लोकान को निद होउनी आ तुमे जानिचो निद न होले तुमे पागल भला लागिवो आ निदडा होची हम बॉडी पई बहुत इंपोर्टेंट जिंसो आ जदी निद ठीक कि न होबो तुमर हार्ट प्रॉब्लम बारिवो तुमर डायबिटिक्स बारिवो सब किछि निद सहित जुडा हेकी होची ओके सो आमर जोटे थिला ना अर्ली टू बेड अर्ली टू राइज मेक्स ए मैन हेल्दी एंड वाइज प्लीज डोंट ट्राई टू डिस्टर्ब दिस साइकिल ओके सेटा बहुत इंपोर्टेंट तेनो स्लीप रु रिलेटेड स्ट्रेस तुम जानतो स्ट्रेस आजकल बहुत प्रॉब्लम बहुत लोग सुइसाइड करछथि ड्यू टू स्ट्रेस राइट तेनो केबे बोली निदटा को केबे बोली खराब करिवो नाही राति रे बसी मोबाइल देखिवनी राति रे बसी लेट नाइट पर चाहिवनी खाई सारलो राति 10टा को बेड को जाओ सकाळ 4टा को उठो दिस इज ऑलवेज द बेस्ट अब सेटा तुम ब्रेन को सबले एक्टिव रखियो राइट तो तेणु आम बुझीपारे जे ब्रेन रिलेटेड रोगटा हूँ सब बड़ रोग जार कौन सल्यूशन ना राइट से भाया एटा हेल्थ उपरे कहली लेसे इंजीनियरिंग रे कौ डोमेनटा सबुठ आजकल सब सफिस्टिकेटेड जोटार पिला बेसी बेसी पैसा दरमा मिलूँ जो एरिया तुम मैंने कहीपर कि इंजीनियरिंग हाँ नहीं इवन सॉफ्टवेयर ऑल्सो आई एम टॉकिंग द डोमेन्स ओके लेट मी टेल यू तुम्हें शुणी रोबोटिक्स कंप्यूटर विजन आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ये सब एटार सब बेसी ये मिले सेटा कौन मु देखुची वर्तमान एटा कंप्यूटर विजन एप्लिकेशन एठी आमे कोन करूछु लेट्स से मोटे मशीन तयारी करली या मोर कंप्यूटर को गोटे नॉलेज दे देली जे तू चिन्हिबु एमिति एटा होची एई मनुष्य लेट्स से गोटे कैमरा मते देखि कहि देबो ये होची तपन गांधी राइट लेट्स से तुम कार जाउची एई कारटा एई जगह रो आछि सब कुछ डिटेल कहि परतो तखन गोटे
Sir, this technology is there and like eda achi movies. In movies also it is there.
Yeah.
Animated movie. Yeah.
Definitely, you must have seen in many movies, right? So it a computer vision, right? So एटा होची आमे गोटे कोन करूछु गोटे मशीन को या कैमरा को आमे ताको बुझी दोजु जे एई बडा चिन्हिबा पई हुए से देले चिन्हि परिबो राइट ले जेमिति म कहउतली गोटे ऑटोनोमस व्हीकल माने जेटा कि ड्राइवर नथिबो तुमे गाडी रे बसलो आउ ता कहि देल जे म एई जाको जीवी तो सेकंड पिक्चर देखुतबो एई गाडी रे बहुत सेंसर लागिता है राइट ए सेंसर विल फाइंड इट आउट कि तुम पाखा पाखी किछि व्हीकल अछि कि ये सब स्कैन करतबो तुम आगे के व्हीकल अछि कि तेनु तापर से डिसीजन होतो केमिति सेफली से ड्राइव करी कि तुम डेस्टिनेशन को नै कि जीवो राइट तो एई सब जे जिंस देखुचो सबुरो एई एठी गुटे जिंस देखिलो आ गुटे म कहली हेल्थ रो हैला ए मानक भीतर कॉमन कोन कॉमन जिंस देखिलो एटी तुमको कोन कहली हेल्थ रे कोन प्रॉब्लम गुटे डिस्कस करली आ एटी दुईटा खाली प्रॉब्लम देली कंप्यूटर विजन रो एटा गुटे प्रॉब्लम जे कोला रिकॉग्नाइज करिवो आ गोटे ड्राइवरलेस कार हैला एठी एई दुईटा जिंस देखि तमे को जिंसटा कॉमन पाइलो या भीतर कॉमन वर्ड गुटे को कोन कॉमन अछि या भीतर
Technology.
No, the common is the word is called intelligence right brain ro भी intelligence एठी भी सही intelligence टा यूज होची तेनु एठी गुटे बड़ जिंस आसला गुटे एटू जे आमे जदी ब्रेन को बुझी परिबा राइट ब्रेन केमिति काम करूची ताहाले आमे एई बळे नवा नवा टेक्नोलॉजी क्रिएट करि परिबा इंजीनियरिंग रे आउ ब्रेन भीतर जो प्रॉब्लम अछि ताकू हम ठीक करि परिबा राइट तो गुटे गुळले दुईटा शिकार ओके so this is how okay I'm not talking about all this thing that's why brain is important to study right this is one of the cutting edge research area to understand the human brain okay ei brain bhitre jo basic building block thai ta koje neuron amo brain bhitre nearly 200 billions neurons achi 200 billions au sei neuron ko सब जुड़ी दो ना से गोटे इलेक्ट्रिकल सर्किट एते लंबा इलेक्ट्रिकल सर्किट क्रिएट करिवो दिस इज मोर देन 200,000 माइल्स तो यू जस्ट इमेजिन तुम ब्रेन भीतर केते बड़ो इलेक्ट्रिकल नेटवर्क अछि राइट एंड दिस इज द न्यूरॉन ब्रेन भीतर ई न्यूरॉन एबड़ा थाय न्यूरॉन भीतर कनेक्शन थाय ताको जाय हमें साइनाप्स राइट एंड न्यूरॉन जो ब्रांचेस तो ताको डेंड्राइट्स राइट आ ए न्यूरॉन रे किछि केमिकल प्रोसेस हुए जहा द्वारा से तारो इंफॉर्मेशन गोटे न्यूरॉन रो आउट न्यूरॉन को ट्रांसमिट करे राइट आ सही भलिया हम बॉडी जति किछि होची द न्यूरॉन गवर्न्स ऑल दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आ इंटरेस्टिंग इनसो होची यू विल सी दिस टू पिक्चर आई एम शोइंग यू हियर बा साइड पिक्चर होची हम ब्रेन भीतर न्यूरॉन आ डाहाण पट पिक्चर टा होची हम स्टार्स इन द गैलेक्सी इन द यूनिवर्स राइट जस्ट सी दे लुक वेरी मच सिमिलर जते बेला हमें कहू हमें मिस्ट्री दुनिया रो मिस्ट्री बुझिया पय ट्राई करूछु हमें आकाश को देखुछु राइट आम ब्रेन भी ठीक एक्जेक्टली सही भले दिसछि राइट you can see here one brain cell and the universe they looks very much similar tenu in order to understand the mystery of this universe what you will do you have to stand outside of your home and look at the sky to understand the mystery but before that what you have to do you have to understand the mystery of your brain right and because if I'll show you this is the picture I'm showing you how we are evolved from rat cat chimpanzee and human you can see here brain को वाला develop ही चलची आमे rat रू आमे जो वाला human हिचू you can see brain रो एक गुटे particular जिंस गुटे बहुत बड़ी जायची ताको जाय association cortex association area hela au ei brain taro next 1000 years pore bi brain will change much, right, depending on the uses. So ya pachre kon logic kon achi, why brain is evolving like this? If we can understand this kind of mechanism, so we can find out the solution for the many problems we are facing or we are suffering, maybe diseases. In the same time, we can create the right kind of technology for the future generation. Bujhiparlo? Okay. Then I told you that we need to understand the brain. That's why I've written listening to the brain. Let's listen to the brain, how the brain is doing all this remarkable job. ତମେ ଥରେ ଭାବ ସକାଳୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବେଡରୁ ଉଠୁଛ, ଆଖି ଖୋଲୁଛ, ତୁମ ଚାରି ପାଖରେ ଦେଖୁଛ କେତେ ବ୍ୟୁଟିଫୁଲ ୱାର୍ଲଡ, ତୁମେ ଭଏସ ଶୁଣୁଛ, ତମ ବାପାଙ୍କ ମାଙ୍କ ଭଏସ ଶୁଣୁଛ କି ଭାଇ ଭଉଣୀ କି ସାଙ୍ଗର, ରାଇଟ, ତୁମକୁ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ଲାଗୁଛି। ଏଇଟା କରୁଛି କିଏ? ଏଇଟା କିଏ କରୁଛି? ଏଇଟା ସବୁ ଏଇ ବ୍ରେନ କରୁଛି, ରାଇଟ। ତୁମେ ଯାହା ଦେଖୁଛ ଆଖି ଭିତରେ ଦେଇ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ରେଜ୍ ଯାଉଛି, ହେଲା, ଯାହା ଶୁଣୁଛ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଭାଇବ୍ରେସନ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ଆସୁଛି, ଯେଟା ଶୁଣୁଛ, ବଟ୍ ହୁ ଇଜ ଡୁଇଙ୍ଗ ଦିସ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗ କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଥିଙ୍ଗସ୍? ତମେ ଯୋଉଟା ଦେଖିଛ, ତୁମେ ଜାଣିଛ ସେଟା ରେଜ୍ ଅଫ, ରାଇଟ, ତୁମେ ଯାହା ଦେଖୁଛ ସେଟା ସିମ୍ପଲ ରେଜ୍ ଅଫ ଲାଇଟ୍। ତମେ ଯଦି ଫିଜିକ୍ସ ପଢିଛ, ତୁମେ ଜାଣିଛ ଦିଜ୍ ଆର୍ ଦ ରେଜ୍ ଅଫ ଲାଇଟ୍ କମିଂ ଫ୍ରମ ଦିସ୍ ଅବଜେକ୍ଟ। ସେଟା ଆଖି ଭିତରକୁ ପଶୁଛି, ଆଖିରୁ ବ୍ରେନ ଭିତରେ କିଛି ନା କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ହଉଛି, ଗୋଟେ କଣ ହଉଛି କେହି ଜାଣିନି, ମ୍ୟାଜିକ ହଉଛି, ଯାହା ଫଳରେ ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଏଟା ଲାପଟପ, ଏଟା ମଣିଷ, ଏଟା ପଶୁ, ଏଟା ବାଘ, ଏଟା ହାତୀ, ରାଇଟ। ତ ଏଟା ଦେଖଉଛି କିଏ ଆମକୁ? ତେଣୁ ତମେ ତାରେ ଜମିନ पर ମୁଭି ଦେଖିଥିବ, ରାଇଟ? ତାରେ ଜମିନ पर ଦେଖିଛ? हाँ, ସେଇଠି ସେ କହୁଛି ନା ସେ ईशान, ଯେ जो दिखता है वो होता नहीं है, जो होता है वो दिखता नहीं है। दैट्स वेरी राइट। आमे ଯାହାକୁ ପାଗଳ କହୁ, ତୁମେ ଦେଖିଥିବ, ଆମେ କହୁ ନା ଏ ପାଗଳଟା ରାସ୍ତାରେ ଯାଉଛି, ତା କାହିଁ ପାଗଳ କହୁ? ଲେଟ୍ସ ସେ ତୁମ ସାଙ୍ଗ, ତୁମେ ତୁମ ସାଙ୍ଗ ସହିତ କଥା ହଉଛ, ହେଲା, ତମ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହଠାତ୍ କହିବ, ଆରେ ଦେଖ ଜଣେ କିଏ ଉଡୁଛି ଆମ ମୁଣ୍ଡ ଉପରେ, ରାଇଟ? ତୁମ ସାଙ୍ଗ କହିଲା, ତୁମେ ଉପରକୁ ଦେଖିଲ ଯେ କାହିଁ କେହି ତ ଉଡୁନି। ସେ କହିଲା, ଆରେ ମୁଁ ଦେଖିପାରୁଛି ଜଣେ ଉଡୁଛି କିଏ ଉପରେ, ତୁ କେମିତି ଦେଖିପାରୁନୁ? ଲାଷ୍ଟର ଆଉ କିଏ ଜଣେ ସାଙ୍ଗ ଆସିବ, ସେ କହିବ ନା କିଛି ତ ଉପରେ ନାହିଁ। ତାପରେ ତୁମେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ମିଶି କଣ କହିବ, ଯେ ସାଙ୍ଗଟା ପାଗଳ ହେଇଯାଇଛି, ତାକୁ ଦିଶୁଛି କିଛି, ଆମେ ଦେଖିପାରୁନୁ, ସେ କହୁଛି ଉଡୁଛି କିଛି, ରାଇଟ? এইটা হচ্ছে ইন্টারেস্টিং জিনিস। ଆମକୁ ଆମେ ଯାହା ଦେଖୁଛୁ ସେଇଟା ଆମକୁ, ଆମ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଆମକୁ ଯୋଉଟା ଦେଖଉଛି ଆମେ ସେଇଟା ଦେଖୁଛୁ, ରାଇଟ? ଆମ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଯଦି ଆମକୁ ସେଇଟା ଦେଖେଇବନି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବୁ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ପାଇଁ nothing exists in this world, at the same time whatever we see or we feel that these are existing, this is because of our eye or our sensory modality and our brain, right? ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ପାଇଁ ସବୁଠୁ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ହେଉଛି ବ୍ରେନ୍ କୁ ବୁଝିବା। ଓକେ, ତ many years back ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେଇ ଏଇ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ତିଆରି କରୁଥିଲି, ସେତେବେଳେ ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଯେ ମୁଁ ମୋର ଗୋଲ ଥିଲା ଟୁ କ୍ରିଏଟ୍ ଦିସ୍ କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଗେଜେଟ୍, ରାଇଟ୍, ହ୍ୱିଚ୍ ୱିଲ୍ ବି ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେଣ୍ଟ। ଏଇ ଗେଜେଟ୍ଟାକୁ ତୁମ ଆଗରେ ରଖିଦେବି, ଇଏ ବୁଝି ନେବ, ତୁମକୁ ଯଦି ପାଣି ଶୋଷ ଲାଗୁଛି ସେ ପାଣି ଆଣିଦେବ, ତୁମକୁ ଯଦି କିଛି ଖାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଭୋକ ଲାଗୁଛି ଯାଇକି ତୋ ମାଆକୁ କହିବ ଯେ ଭୋକ ଲାଗୁଛି ତାକୁ ଖାଦ୍ୟ ଦିଅ। ସେଇଭଳିଆ ଡିଭାଇସ୍ ତିଆରି କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଭାବିଲି, ଆଣ୍ଡ ଆଇ ଟୋଲ୍ଡ ୟୁ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ମୁଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆର୍ଟିଫିସିଆଲ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଡୋମେନରେ ଭିତରକୁ ପଶିଲି, ମୁଁ ଦେଖିଲି ଯେ ପ୍ରଥମ ମତେ ବ୍ରେନ୍ କୁ ବୁଝିବା ପାଇଁ ପଡିବ। and if I can understand the brain, I can create the machine like brain, right? ସେଇଠୁ ମୁଁ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ, ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଭିତରେ ମୁଁ ଗବେଷଣା କରିବା ପାଇଁ ସେଇଠୁକୁ ଆଗେଇଲି, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଉ ଦ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷ ଯୋଉଟା କି ମୁଁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲି, ତମେ ମାନେ ଶୁଣିଥିବ, ତମେ ଆଇଆଇଟି ତ ଶୁଣିଥିବ ସମସ୍ତେ, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଇଆଇଟି, ହଁ, ଆଇଆଇଟି ହଉଛି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ ନମ୍ବର 1 ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁଟ, ଆଇ ମିନ୍ ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟରିଂ କଲେଜ,
Indian Institute of Technology,
ହଁ, ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଅଫ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜି। ଆଉ ପୃଥିବୀରେ ବଡ ଜାଣିଛ କୋଉଠି?
Sir, is it Kota?
ୱାର୍ଲଡରେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଆଇଆଇଟି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ, ୱାର୍ଲଡରେ ତାକୁ କୁହାଯାଏ MIT, ମାସାଚୁସେଟ୍ସ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଅଫ ଟେକ୍ନୋଲୋଜି, ରାଇଟ୍? ସେଟା ହଉଛି,
yes sir, we heard the word of MIT.
yes, ତ ସେଇଟା ହଉଛି ପୃଥିବୀର ସବୁଠୁ ନମ୍ବର 1 ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଣ୍ଡ ଏଇ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଉପରେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ସେଇଠିକି ଯାଇଥିଲି, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଉ ତା ସହିତ ମୁଁ ସେଇ MITରେ ରହିକି ମୁଁ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଉପରେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିଥିଲି। ଓକେ, ତାପରେ ମୁଁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆଇଆଇଟି ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ପ୍ରଫେସର ଅଛି। ଓକେ, ଆଉ ଏଇଠି ବି ମୋ ଲ୍ୟାବ୍ ବହୁତ କିଛି ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଛି ବ୍ରେନ୍ ଉପରେ। ଆଉ ଏମ୍ସ ନ୍ୟୁ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀରେ ମୋର ଦୁଇଟା ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ବଡ଼ ବଡ଼ ସେଣ୍ଟର ଅଛି, ଯୋଉଟାକୁ ମୁଁ ଲିଡ୍ କରେ ଏମ୍ସରେ। ଓକେ, ତ ଏଇଠି ଆମେ କ'ଣ କରୁ, ସୋ ଗୋଟେ ୱାନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଦ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍, ଭେରି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟିଂ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍ ୱାଚ୍, ଯେମିତି ତୁମକୁ ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଯେ लेट्स से कंप्यूटर विजन ओके कंप्यूटर विजन माने आमे कंप्यूटर को विजन दो या मशीन को विजन दो कि मशीन को बड़ा चिन्ही परिबो राइट बट बिफोर दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जने मनुष्य आमे तो जन्म होउछु आमे केमिति देखिया पय सिखुछु राइट लेट्स से तुमको ए गुडम देखौ कि छोट जिंस मु पचारबे एटा कोन तुमे कोडा ग्लास तुमको भी पचारबी तो केमिति जानो एटा ग्लास बोली तुमे कहबे एटा मु छुआळू जानि कि मो बापा मा सिखिचंती कि मो टीचर सिखिची राइट बट आमे जानिनु ब्रेन को बड़ा चिन्हुचे एटा ग्लास बोली ओके सो वी केम अप विथ वन आइडिया कि या ऊपर आमे कोबळे रिसर्च करि परिबा राइट तापर आमे देखिले जे गोटे एई विषय को जानिबा पई आमको गोटे छोट पिला जन्म होउची ता ब्रेन को स्टडी करिया पई पड़िबो बट गोटे छोट पिला पर तुमे रिसर्च करि परिबे एई पई जे गोटे छोट पिला से तो बुझेनी से तुमे कोन करिया पई जाउचो फर्स्ट सेकंड कथाला केही भी तुमको छोट पिला को टच करिया पई देबेनी रिसर्च पई राइट तेन हमको आउट आइडिया आसला जे इज इट पॉसिबल लेट्स से केही जने अंध जन्म होईची राइट अंध बिल्कुल देखिनी आ ताकू आमे बाय मैजिक तुमे जानि हम इंडिया रे बहुत मंत्र तंत्र भी हुए ना लेट्स से मुडे मंत्र जानि जी मुडे मंत्र किछ कर देली राइट आउ से वर्तमान देखिया पई स्टार्ट करिवो लेट्स से ऑलरेडी से 20 वर्ष देखिनी छुआ बेलु वर्तमान 20 वर्ष से ओल्ड आउ ताकोडे मंत्र रे मु देखि देली आउ वर्तमान से जेहेतु 20 वर्ष गोटे एडल्ट राइट तापर मु एक्सपेरिमेंट करि परिबी एई बळे गोटे आम भीतर आइडिया आसला तो आमे देखिले एई जे प्रॉब्लम ता जदि आमे सॉल्व करि पारु दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम तुमको प्रथम कहिछि आमे साइंस एंड इंजीनियरिंग एई पई करू टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम्स बिग प्रॉब्लम्स तो वन ऑफ द वेरी बिग प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया इज ब्लाइंडनेस अंध सुनिथिबो तुमे सरप्राइज होबो 1 in every 100 Indians is blind some kind of I'm talking blind means this is I mean visual problems right and interestingly ये जो blindness आम इंडिया रची सेटा गोटे हाईएस्ट माने पृथ्वी रे जति की अंध लोक अछंती सबटू अधिका अंध लोक होचंती इंडिया रे नियरली 50% blind people live here ए अंध कोन पई होंती ना एई सब कारण कॉर्नियल स्केयरिंग माने कॉर्निया माने तुम कॉर्नियाटा जदि माने इंजर्ड हेजिवो कैटराक्ट मींस तुम सुनते मोतियाबिंद उडियार मोतियाबिंद कोंती सेटा गोटे व्हाइट लेयर गोटे आखि ऊपर हे जाय सेई टाइम जदि जन्म रुवे जने अंध हेजिवो रेटिनल डिस्ट्रोफी तुम रेटिना जदि आखिर गोटे लेयर अछि तको रेटिना से जदि अलगा हे जायथिवो इन्फेक्शन पिला तो जन्म हुए जदि प्रॉपर्ली सैनिटाइज नथिवो जागा जोड जन्म हुए ता आखिरे इन्फेक्शन होवार चांस थाई इन्फेक्शन होले से भी आखिटा को नष्ट कर देबो आउ गोटे कंजेनिटल रुबेला सिंड्रोम एटा होचे भाइरस जेमिति कोरोना भाइरस सेमिति ये गोटे रुबेला गोटे भाइरस अछि तो एटा भी कोन हुए सेटा भी केते जदि पसि जाइतो मा देह भीतर को पिला अंध होवार चांस थाए सेही पई कोआ जाय जते मा पेटरे पिला थाय ताकोटे वैक्सीन दिया जाय रुबेला वैक्सीन फॉर द रुबेला राइट तो एही कारण पई इंडिया रे बहुत ब्लाइंड होंती तुमे जानिथिबो गां रे हॉस्पिटल तो अवस्था बहुत खराब इवन आम बहुत पिला गाँव जन्म होती सिंपल घर सेटिंग रे तो सेठी एते सैनिटाइजेशन प्रॉपर्ली नथाय तेणु इन्फेक्शन पई भी अंध होवार चांस थाय बट इंटरेस्टिंगली जति कि हम देश रे अंध अछंती ता भितरु 40% माने 100 टार अंध थिबे 40% को हमें ठीक करि परिबा या तो ताकू रोशनी देई परिबा बट ड्यू टू द लैक ऑफ नॉलेज लैक ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वी आर नॉट एबल टू डू दैट राइट आ जो अंध पिला माने जन्म होंती सेमानकर टोटल लाइफ स्पान टोटल जीवन लेट्स से जदि आमे नॉर्मल लोक आमे जदि 70 वर्ष बंचिबा से माने मात्र 55 मैक्सिमम 55 पर्यंत बंचिबे जो पिला माने अंध जन्म होंती ता भितर 50% अंध पिला से माने तकर सेकंड बर्थडे देखि पारंती दैट मींस सेकंड ईयर को साने मरि जाइतांती ता डेथ हे जाइताय आ तुमे जानि जो माने अंध जन्म होंती तांकर एजुकेशन भी ठीक हे पारेनी सेही पई हम देशर प्रत्येक unemployment due to this kind of problem is very high and for this India is losing around $10 billion this is a very huge amount of money is a big loss to the economy of India right so our pressing humanitarian need is that it's possible if possible jodi possible he pare ame to kemiti thik kariba right you can see eto choto pila 8 वर्षर पिला ये यूपी रो गोटे पिला you can see ता आखिर केमिति मोतियाबिंद हेची छुआ बेलु से छुआ बेलु को देखिनी अंध राइट सो तेनु आमे भाबिले जे एटा पॉसिबल हे परिबो कि जदि पिला को आमे ठीक करि परिबा आउ से पिला जे देखिबा स्टार्ट करिवो ताको आमे रिसर्च करिबा से चिन्हुची केमिति जिंस को এইটা হচ্ছে real intelligence, and if we can understand, we can implement this technology in the machine and make it artificial intelligence, right? এটা যেମିତି କହିଲି ସେମିତି medical science ରେ ବହୁତ problem ଅଛି ଯୋଉଟା କି କାହାକୁ ଜଣା ନଥିଲା, and then we started doing this research, okay? But এই research ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ କହିଲେ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଅନ୍ଧ ପିଲା ଦେଖିପାରିବ ନାହିଁ, ଆଗରୁ ଥିଲା medical science ରେ ଗୋଟେ hypothesis. ତୁମେ ଜାଣିଛ ଯେତେ କି ନୂଆ ଆମେ ପାଠ ପଢୁଛୁ, whether medical science, engineering or anything else, এটা ସବୁ research ରୁ ଆସେ, ଗବେଷଣାରୁ ଆସେ, right? ସେଇ ପାଇଁ scientist ମାନଙ୍କୁ କୁହାଯାଏ the other name of God. They bring the new things which does not exist, right? तो এই দুই জন এটি যে দেখুতো ମୋ স্ক্রিন রে দুই জন ବହୁତ বড় প্রফেসর, এমানে হার্ভার্ড ইউনিভার্সিটি তুমি শুনিଥିବ ୟୁଏସ୍ ରେ, সেটা ବି ସେଇ MIT ପାଖରେ, ସେମାନେ ଏଇ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ପ୍ରଫେସର ଥିଲେ ସେଠି, ପ୍ରଫେସର ଆଣ୍ଡ ସାଇଣ୍ଟିଷ୍ଟ, ଜଷ୍ଟ ଲାଇକ୍ ଆସ୍, ଆମେ ବି ଯେମିତି ପ୍ରଫେସର ଆଇଟ୍ ରେ ଆଉ ଆମେ ବି ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁ, ଠିକ ସେଇଭଳିଆ ସେମାନେ ବି ଥିଲେ, ଡେଭିଡ୍ ଉଗେଲ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଟର୍ସେନ୍ ୱିଜେଲ୍। ତ ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ ଦେଇଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତାକୁ ନୋବେଲ ପ୍ରାଇଜ ମିଳିଥିଲା 1981 ରେ, ନୋବେଲ ପ୍ରାଇଜ ପାଇଥିଲେ ସେମାନେ, ତାଙ୍କର ସେମାନେ ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ସାଇଣ୍ଟିଫିକ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ ସବୁ ଦେଇକି ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି। ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସ୍ ଥିଲା କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ପିରିୟଡ। କ୍ରିଟିକାଲ ପିରିୟଡ ମାନେ এইটা ଗୋଟେ ସେମାନେ ଡିଫାଇନ୍ କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ ଆମ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଜୀବନରେ ଏଇ ଟାଇମଟା ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ। କୋଉ ଟାଇମଟା? ଆମେ ଜନ୍ମ ହେଲା ପରେ, ଲେଟ୍ସ ସେ ମୁଁ ଜନ୍ମ ଆଜି ହେଲି ପୁରା ବିଲକୁଲ ଅଲ୍ ରାଇଟ୍, ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ଟୋଟାଲି ଅଲ୍ ରାଇଟ୍, ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ନର୍ମାଲ ବୟ, ଆଉ ଜନ୍ମ ପରେ ପରେ ତୁମେ ମତେ କଣ କଲ ନା ଗୋଟେ ପୁରା ଅନ୍ଧାର ରୁମ୍ ରେ ରଖିଲ, ସେଇ ରୁମ୍ ଭିତରେ ମତେ ଖାଲି ଖାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଦେଲ, ସବୁ କିଛି ମିଳିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଦେଖି ପାରୁନଥିଲି କିଛି, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଉ 2 ମାସ ପରେ ଯଦି ସେ ରୁମ୍ ରୁ ମତେ ବାହାରକୁ ତୁମେ ଆଣିବ, ସେତେବେଳକୁ ମୁଁ ବିଲକୁଲ ଅନ୍ଧ ହେଇଯାଇଥିବି। ତା ମାନେ ହଉଛି ଆମ ବ୍ରେନ୍ ରେ ଯୋଉ ନ୍ୟୁରନ୍ କାମ କରେ ଦେଖିବା ପାଇଁ, ଶୁଣିବା ପାଇଁ, ସେମାନଙ୍କର କାମ ପ୍ରଥମରୁ ହିଁ ଭାଗ ହେଇଯାଏ, ଯେ ତୋ କାମ ହଉଛି ଦେଖିବାର, ତୋ କାମ ଶୁଣିବାରେ, ତୋ କାମ ଛୁଇଁବାରେ, ରାଇଟ୍? ତ ଯୋଉ ପିଲାମାନେ ଛୁଆ ବେଳୁ ତାକୁ ପ୍ରଥମ 2 ମାସ ମୁଁ ରଖିଦେଲି ଅନ୍ଧାର ରୁମ୍ ରେ, ତାକୁ ଯେହେତୁ ସେ ଦେଖୁନି, ତେଣୁ ନ୍ୟୁରନ୍ ତା ପାଇଁ ବିଲକୁଲ ନାହିଁ, ରାଇଟ୍? ଆଉ ଏଇଟା କେବେ ଆଉ ଠିକ ହେଇପାରିବ ନାହିଁ। ତେଣୁ ଏଟା ଖାଲି ଦେଖିବା ପାଇଁ ନୁହେଁ, ଶୁଣିବାରେ ବି ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ ଆପ୍ଲାଏ ହୁଏ, ଆଉ ଟଚ୍ କରିବାରେ, ସବୁ ସେନ୍ସରୀ ଯେତେ ଆମେ କାମ କରୁ ସେ ଆପ୍ଲାଏ ହୁଏ। ଆଉ ଏଇ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ସାଇଣ୍ଟିଷ୍ଟ, ଏଇ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ବୈଜ୍ଞାନିକ, ସେମାନେ ଏଇ ସବୁ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଏନିମଲ ଉପରେ କରିଥିଲେ, ଏନିମଲର ପାଇଲେ ଯେ ଏଇଭଳିଆ ହଉଛି, ତେଣୁ ଏଇ ହାଇପୋଥେସିସଟାକୁ ଗୋଟେ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ୍ ଉପରେ ବି ଗୋଟେ ଆପ୍ଲାଏ କରାହଉଥିଲା, ଯେ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ୍ ବି ଏଇଭଳିଆ ହଉଥିବେ। ସେଇ ପାଇଁ ଆମେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିବା ଆଗରୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଅନ୍ଧ ପିଲାମାନେ ହସ୍ପିଟାଲ ଆସୁଥିଲେ, ସେତେବେଳେ ଡକ୍ଟର କହୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଅନ୍ଧ ପିଲା ଅନ୍ଧ ହେଇଛି, ସେ ଠିକ ହେଇପାରିବ, କିନ୍ତୁ 10 ବର୍ଷ ଯାଏ ସେ ଆସିନି, କେବେ ଠିକ ହେଇନି, ଆଉ 10 ବର୍ଷ ଦେଖିନି, ଯେତେବେଳେ 10-11 ବର୍ଷ ବେଳକୁ ଆସିବ ହସ୍ପିଟାଲ, ଆଗରୁ ଡକ୍ଟର କହୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ଇଟ୍ସ ନଟ୍ ପସିବଲ, ରାଇଟ୍? ତ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲୁ, ନଟ୍ ଓନ୍ଲି ଇନ୍ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ, ଦ ହୋଲ୍ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାଜ୍ ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ ଆସ୍, पूरा पृथ्वी आम एगेंस्ट थिला जे हाउ कम यू थिंक दैट यू कैन मेक इट पॉसिबल, राइट? तो आमर गोटे प्रोजेक्ट, आम प्रोजेक्टर नाम होची प्रोजेक्ट प्रकाश, सेटा दिल्ली रे बेस्ड, बट यस वेरी सुन मु ताको ओडिसा रे स्टार्ट करिवि, मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली एई वर्ष 2022 रे, जोटर कि आमे कोन करू, आमे दुईटा जिंस करू, ह्यूमन ट्रेन नीड एंड साइंटिफिक क्वेस्ट। तुमे माने सुनिथिबो आमे बहुत रिसर्च करू, रिसर्च रो कोनोसी माने तारा केते दूर हेल्प करूची ह्यूमैनिटी को आमे जाननु, किंतु एटा होची वर्ल्ड रो गोटे एमिति गोटे प्रोजेक्ट जोटार कि आमे अंध को भी ठीक करूछु, आउ से अंध देखिला परे से जोला देखुची ताको आमे स्टडी करिकी, रिसर्च करिकी, आमे नुआ नुआ हाइपोथेसिस दोछु मेडिकल साइंस को, सेम टाइम आमे इंटेलिजेंट सब जिंस बनौछु, राइट? आउ द प्रोजेक्ट रो नाम होची प्रोजेक्ट प्रकाश। सो प्रकाश इन संस्कृत द मीनिंग इज लाइट, राइट? सो टू ब्रिंग लाइट इन द लाइव्स ऑफ ब्लाइंड we call project prakash, okay? amaro एट दिल्ली रे amaro एटी गोटे अछि सेंटर, जोटार कि माने मु ताको मु तार हेड से सेंटर रे, सो दिस इज ए एनजीओ काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, सो बेसिकली बहुत स्कूल पिला यूएस रे, इंडिया रे, से माने हम पई फंड रेज करंती, काई ना हमें लोक जते गरीब पिला ताको फ्री रे ताको ट्रीटमेंट करू, आ ताको हम ठीक करू, हमें कोन करू एठी ट्रीटमेंट करू, तापर रिसर्च करू, आ ताको पाठ भी पढू, काई ना अंध पिला माने स्कूल केबे जाय नांती, और जदि भी जायछन कि ब्लाइंड स्कूल जायछथि, तेनु से देखिबा स्टार्ट करंती, ताको जदि हमें सेठी आखि ताको ठीक करी छाडी देबू, से करिवे कोन, राइट? तेनु हमें ताको ट्राई करू जे से माने पाठ पढी कि जेमि चाकरी करि परिबे, तेनु ए सब जिंस हमें फंड पिला माने कि हमको डोनेट करंती, सेहितरा हमें करू, ओके? सो यू कैन सी हियर ट्रीटमेंट, एटी ट्रीटमेंट होची माने ताको छोटो सर्जरी हमें करू आखिरो, तापरे हम टेस्ट करू। ये गोटे देखो 20 वर्ष रो गोटे एडल्ट, से ब्लाइंड थिला, छुआ बेल 20 वर्ष जाए, आ फर्स्ट जब रोशनी ता आखिर आसला तापर आमे ताको एक्सपेरिमेंट करूछु जे से देखि पारुछि ना नाही आ देखुछि जदी केमिति देखुछि राइट तो एई जे ब्रेन भितरे एई जे आमे देखुछु ता भितरे भी बहुत कि जिंस होउछि आमे ईच एंड एवरीथिंग आमे ट्रैक करू तो एइठी दुईटा पिलार फोटो हम देखुछि तुमनकु गुटे 8 वर्षर जने 22 वर्षर सो से जे क्रिटिकल पीरियड हाइपोथेसिस जो नोबेल प्राइज विनर देइथिले दुई जण ताकू जदी आमे देखिबा राइट तेनु एई दुई जण केबे साइट पाइबे नाही बट आमे ताकू हमरो जो एक ऑपरेशन करलु तापर रिसर्च करलु व्हाट वी फाउंड वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग we do many different kind of things तो इटा गुटे मशीन या नाउ ची एमआरआई मैग्नेटिक रेजोनेंस इमेजिंग ये गुटे मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस रे बहुत यूज हुए आ एटारे बॉडी रे भी पूरा इमेज हुए किंतु मु यूज करे ये मशीन टाकू ब्रेन रो फोटो उठैया पाई तो मु हजार हजार ब्रेन रो फोटो उठाए टू सी ब्रेन केमिति चेंज होउची राइट तो जो पिला माने ओके मु ए बेसिक साइंस भितर जाउनी रिसर्च भितर जाउनी खाली गुटे लेमैन लैंग्वेज तुमन कहै पाई चाहे एटा जो ब्रेन रो गुटे जो ब्रेन रो जो एरियाटा देखिबार हमको सहायता करे सही पार्ट रो मु देखुची न्यूरॉन को बळे फायर करूची राइट ए जे येलो रेड देखुचो तुमे सेटा ब्रेन रो फायरिंग न्यूरॉन रो फायरिंग तो मु देखुची ब्रेन रो माने T-2 लिखि जोटा माने जो जते बेले जण अंध थिला सते बेले तार ब्रेन रो इमेज आउ T+7 मींस ऑपरेशन हला T = 0 माने 0 डे रे ऑपरेशन हला ताकि को हम ठीक करलु तापर 7 दिन परे ताको ब्रेन रो फोटो उठैलु तापर आबरे 1 मास गुटे मास परे तापर एटाला 4 मास परे सो आमे देखिलु ए जे न्यूरॉन रो जो फायरिंग गा देखो एटी गुटे बड़ माने गुटे हॉटस्पॉट देखुजो बट तुमे दि 4 मास पर देखिवो ए बड़ हॉटस्पॉट नाही छोटे छोटे हो जाई राइट ता माने होउची एटा को लेमैन लैंग्वेज रे कहउची नॉट साइंटिफिक लैंग्वेज आम ब्रेन जतले इंफॉर्मेशन को एनकोड करे जते बुझे राइट ताको हम कहू इंफॉर्मेशन एनकोडिंग जदी तुमे भाबो मो पाकर दुईटा बिट अछि बिट आमे जो कंप्यूटर रे जो लैंग्वेज यूज करू हम कहउची जो बिट दुईटा बिट अछि जदी मोर दुईटा बिट दुई जन को ऊपर डिपेंडेंट राइट आ से माने केते वे रे इंफॉर्मेशन दे परिबे ना दुई वे रे केमिति आइदर 00 और 11 राइट व्हेन दे आर डिपेंडेंट बट ए जिधर दुईटा बिट जदी इंडिपेंडेंट हेबे राइट से माने फोर डिफरेंट वे रे इंफॉर्मेशन देबे केमिति ना 00 01 10 एंड 11 ता माने होची जते बेले मु दुईटा बिट को इंडिपेंडेंट करूची से माने चारटा इंफॉर्मेशन दोचंती बट व्हेन दे आर डिपेंडेंट देन दे आर ओनली गिवन टू इंफॉर्मेशन तो लाइक वाइज ए जे ब्रेन रे जते गुटे जण अंध थिला तार सब न्यूरॉन दे आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन ईच अदर ईदर दे विल फायर और दे विल नॉट फायर बट टाइम जते ऑपरेशन हला और किछि दिन परे से न्यूरॉन सब इंडिपेंडेंट होचंती इंडिपेंडेंट माने से माने बेसी इंफॉर्मेशन एनकोड करूचंती ता माने साइंटिफिकली मु देखिली ब्रेन जोटा कि आगु वैज्ञानिक माने कहितले जे ब्रेन बुझी परिबोनी देखि परिबोनी किंतु मु पाइली एठू जे नाही ब्रेन देखि पारुची ब्रेन बहुत जिंस को बुझी पारुची राइट तो एई भले हमें बहुत किछ एक्सपेरिमेंट करू ब्रेन ऊपर आउ तापरे ब्रेन रो पैटर्न काढू जे ब्रेन देखि पारुची इवन एमिति किछ प्रॉब्लम अछि एठी गोटे आउट फोटो देखुची मु तुमको एठी चेहराडा दिसुनी मुह दिसुनी ताको को जाय प्रोसोपेग्नोसिया इट्स आल्सो न्यूरल प्रॉब्लम किछ लोक अछंती से माने तुमको जानिथिबे किंतु तुमको चिनी परिबेनी लाइक दिस for them the face looks like a blurred kind of thing तो यार सॉल्यूशन कोन माने कोन पाएटा होउची को भले को ठीक करि परिबा तो तेनु प्रथम कथा होची हमें बुझिया दरकार ब्रेन रो को एरियाटा फेस पाई यूज हुए राइट सो these are the different kind of research जे ब्रेन रो देखोची आ या विषय बेसी न कोइ की या को आकु होची एटा ब्रेन रो हमें देखो एक्टिवेशन कोला चेंज हुए तो व्हाट वी फाउंड हमें देखिलु ब्रेन भीतर केमनी चेंज होची आ बिहेवियर ऑफ दिस पीपल आई फाउंड कि एमान को ठीक आमे कलु तापर से देखि पारुचंती राइट तो बर्तन सुधा आमे 700 रु अधिका जो पिला माने अंध थिले ताको आमे ठीक कर सारचू थ्रू आवर रिसर्च राइट आ एई होचन सेही माने पिला जो मान दिन अंध थिले बट आजी से माने तुम मो भली देखि पारुचंती राइट तो प्रथम कथा ला से देखिबा सेकंड कथा ला जे ताकर ब्रेन कोला सिखि पारुची आ ब्रेन रो को मेकानिज्म केमिति काम करूची जोटा कि मेडिकल साइंस जो मेडिसिन पढुचंती जो डाक्टरी पढुचंती ताको भी हेल्प करूची बहुत जिंस को बुझिया पाई आ थर्ड कोन कहली ना एई सब रिसर्च हमको हेल्प करूची नुआ नुआ टेक्नोलॉजी तयारी करिया पाई जोटा को हमें आज कल कहूची आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस राइट तो तेनो सब बड़ जिंस होची तमे माने एभळे प्रॉब्लम नबो जो प्रॉब्लम टाको तुम सॉल्व करि परिबो आ सेही प्रॉब्लम ता तुमको एभळे आंसर दउतबो जोटा कि मल्टीपल पर्पस रे यूज हे पारथो राइट तो सही जिनसटा आमे करू तो आमर से जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जोटा लीड करे ता ना होची प्रोजेक्ट प्रकाश चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट राइट दिस इज ट्रस्ट एंड मु तार चेयरमैन अछि आ सेठी बहुत लोक काम करथि आ सेटा थ्रो रे आमे अंध पिला को ठीक करू बर्तन ओडिशा रु केही पिला को आमे ठीक करनु बट वेरी सून दिस ईयर ओडिशा रे भी एई रिसर्च एई कामटा स्टार्ट करबी वेरी सून तो तेणु मु इंजीनियरिंग भीतर को न जाई कि खाली तुमको माने एमिति सिंपल ले कहूची जे ब्रेन केमिति फंक्शन करे सेटा को हम बुझी कि हम सेई प्रिंसिपल टा को हम मशीन रे अप्लाई करू एंड क्रिएट द टेक्नोलॉजी राइट सो मु ए सब डिस्कस करूनी बेसी तो एई सब ओके सो यूजिंग ऑल दिस टेक्नोलॉजी ओके सो ए जे रिसर्च तुमको जे कहली एमिति बहुत किछि वर्ल्ड रो जो नुआ नुआ जिंसो जेडा जणा नथिला दुनिया को এই ব্লাইন্ড উপরে কাম করিকি আমি জনাইলু जोटा कि এটা দেখতো নিউইয়র্ক টাইম এটা আমেরিকার সবটু বড় নিউজ পেপার যেমতি ওড়িশারে সমাজ সংবাদ এটা হলো আমেরিকার নিউইয়র্ক টাইম তো ফার্স্ট जो दिन আমি এই সব রিসার্চ গুটে বহুত ইম্পর্টেন্ট গুটে রিসার্চ আমি এই অন্ধছুয়া উপরে কাম করে দেইতিলু সেটা পুরা নিউইয়র্ক টাইম रो প্রথম পুরা কভার পেজ নেইতলা যে প্রথম টাইম পাই इंडिया रो ब्लाइंड पिला माने किछि साइंटिफिक क्वेश्चन को आंसर करले जोटा कि लास्ट 300 इयर्स के कर नथिले हाउ यू कैन सी द हिंदू इंग्लिश पेपर देखिथियो this is me and one of my research I mean many of my research have been published in different outlets working with the blinds how we are solving this problem Wall Street Journal eta gote US ro news journal science magazine hochi gote जो माने वैज्ञानिक से माने बुझी परिबे जो माने साइंटिस्ट if you will be scientist one day you can understand science magazine होची गोटे जोटा कि वर्ल्ड सबटु सुपीरियर रिसर्च ताको बेस्ट रिसर्च जा कुआ जाय सेटा केवल से साइंस रे पब्लिश हुए आ हमर रिसर्च हम करू से हमर रिसर्च को खाली कवर करलेन से हम ता फ्रंट पेज मैगजीन कवर भी वाज डेडिकेटेड टू आवर रिसर्च एटा होची मोर लैब आईआईटी दिल्ली जो मोर न्यूरो कंप्यूटिंग परसेप्शन इंजीनियरिंग लैब सेठी मो स्टूडेंट माने काम करूचंती से ब्रेन रे देखु तो केप लगाइची आ सेटु ब्रेन रो सिग्नल बाहरुची सिग्नल को हम एनालिसिस कर देखु जे पिलाटा अंध थिला जे देखियो स्टार्ट करूची कोबडा देखुची राइट so likewise there are many other times magazine or different जे हार्वर्ड एमआईटी न्यूज and also तुम जानिथिबो नेटफ्लिक्स आजकल देखु तो घर नेटफ्लिक्स राइट नेटफ्लिक्स रो टीम समाने भी आईआईटी लैब आस्तिले मोर आईआईटी लैब टू मेक अ डॉक्यूमेंट्री वीडियो कि जो अंधछुआन देखुचंदी कोबडा देखुचंदी यू कैन सी देयर टीम इज देयर रिकॉर्डिंग ऑल दिस थिंग तेणु एटा होची गोटे सॉर्ट ऑफ इंपोर्टेंट गोटे मिशन इन एक्चुअली इन माय लाइफ टू मेक इंडिया ब्लाइंडनेस फ्री राइट तेणु अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन कहितले दोज हु हैव प्रिविलेज टू नो हैव द ड्यूटी टू एक्ट ता माने होची आज तुम जानलो जे प्रॉब्लम टा सॉल्व करी हबो एंड व्हेन यू नो नाउ यू हैव टू help us to cure as many I mean blind as possible तुम देखि पार तो ई फोटो दुईटा पिक्चर देखि पार तो लेफ्ट साइड रे जो पिला जे आस्तिला अंध पिथिला आ जे पिला को हम ठीक कर सालु राइट साइड द पिक्चर यू कैन सी द डिफरेंस in the smile right okay so this is the organization through which we do all this thing we treat the blindness how ए जो blind पिला देखु जो ताको फैमिली सन very poor even गोटे परिवार 6-7 जन को blind थांती right so it's a very big problem and they're very poor so we try to do everything free of cost and the same time we also give them education so that they can come to the mainstream society so science and technology ro main taro maqsad hochi main objective hochi to solve the core problem of our society right and the same time you can advance the scientific knowledge as well as that also will give or that will help you to develop the next generation technology right so if you find the right problem then you can have the bigger impact on your society right तेणु तुम समस्त को मोर गुटे कथा कहया पई चाहे जेमिति ओडिसा रे खाली मेडिकल साइंस या इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ले तुमे सब करि परिबो इट्स कंप्लीटली रॉन्ग राइट मु तुमको मु ओडिसा रु इवन आज मु बसची इंडिया रो नंबर 1 जाको हम इंस्टीट्यूट को आईआईटी दिल्ली सेठी बसची मु केबे इंजीनियरिंग भी पढ़िनी कि मेडिकल साइंस भी पढ़िनी राइट बट द इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग होची एम्स न्यू दिल्ली दुटा बड़ बड़ सेंटर फॉर एक्सेलेंस अछि जोटार ଯାହାର ଯାହାକୁ ଲିଡ୍ କରୁଛି ମୁଁ ତାକୁ ଇଏ କରୁଛି ଆଉ ମୋ ସହିତ କେତେ କେତେ ଡକ୍ଟର କାମ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ରାଇଟ୍ ସୋ ଇଟ୍ ଡଜ୍ ନଟ୍ ମିନ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ତୁମେ ଖାଲି ଡାକ୍ତର ହେଲେ ୟୁ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ଟଚ୍ ଦ ସ୍କାଏ ଅର୍ ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟର ହେଲେ ଇଟ୍ସ ନଟ୍ ଲାଇକ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ସବୁଠୁ ବଡ଼ କଥା ହଉଛି ତୁମେ କ'ଣ କରୁଛ ସେଇଟା ଉପରେ ସବୁ ଡିପେଣ୍ଡ କରେ ରାଇଟ୍ ୟୁର ଆଟିଟ୍ୟୁଡ୍ will decide your future so try to have the right attitude from today onwards right how तुमे कोउट भी थाओ को गारे भी थाओ if your attitude is right and you are doing the things with determination nobody can stop you to reach the height okay thank you very much and if you have any questions I'd be happy to answer your questions I think I'm on time
thank you sir thank you mane ete sara concepts ब्रेन विषय रे एआई विषय रे साइंस विषय रे टेक्नोलॉजी विषय रे सब जिन आपण बहुत इजीली बहुत एमती का सरल भाषा रे बुझेले जे कि समस्त आई थिंक बुझी पारिबे एंड सब एज रो लोक मानु बिकॉज़ हम स्कूल रो भी किछि पिला छंदी बड़ भी लोक छंदी समस्त बुझी पारिबे जेंती बहुत सुंदर भाबे आपण बुझेले किछि क्वेश्चन जदी काहर अछि प्लीज आपण अनम्यूट करके पचारंतु न
yes आउ एई ओडिसा रो पिला मानको गुटे कहबा चाहूची मु आईआईटी दिले बहुत उडिया पिला कम देखुची राइट एंड मु चाहे जे हम ओडिसा रो पिला आसंतु एटी पाठ पढंतु सो एटा ଗୋଟେ बहुत बड़ कथा हबो राइट आउ इफ आई मीन जे भी सुनुचो मोर टॉक राइट जदी आईआईटी दिले तो डेफिनेटली प्लीज कम टू माय लैब मोर लैब बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग इनसो सब हुए right and some of the things mu pray okay out slide thila baki dekhe na oh na good second okay eiti guda out picture deji mo lab na hochi neuro computing laboratory eiti ame brain signal lu tume sunithibo purana mahabharat re right brain signal ko use kari ki kemiti device ko control kari paribo tume ja bhabucho right tume bhabucho eita heja darkar to ei sob research mo lab re chale okay ताको जाय बीसीआई ब्रेन कंप्यूटर इंटरफेस एंड जति की ब्रेन रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम ता पर सब गवेषणा हुए राइट आउ जति की हेल्थ केयर रिलेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी से सब ऊपर हुए तो मो लैब रे मोर देन 30 साइंटिस्ट्स आर वर्किंग राइट सो इफ विल गेट अ चांस कम टू माय लैब एंड मो लैब सब दिन ओपन थाई 365 days 24 hours 7 days you can come at night 2 a.m. you will find the lab is open people are working there so this is the beauty of IIT right say pai try karo IIT re posia pai people come to IIT you will see the beauty of IIT so that's all and jodi kichh question achi even parents student teacher anybody can ask the question right
sir मोर गोटे क्वेश्चन थिला आपण जेते एते सारा जिंस विषय रे बुझेले आपण एआई ऊपर एते काम करचंदी आ एटा कॉग्निटिव न्यूरोसाइंस स्पेशली तो बहुत बड़ ऑनगोइंग डिबेट चलची या माने समस्त कहउचंती जे कि कैन रियली एआई रिप्लेस द बिकॉज़ इट इज ऑलरेडी मिमिकिंग द ह्यूमन ब्रेन बट when we talk about आपण नेटफ्लिक्स विषय रे भी कहले नेटफ्लिक्स रे बहुत सारा मूवीज अछि डॉक्यूमेंटरीज अछि जोतरे समान कहउचंती आ पोर्ट्रे भी करूचंती कि गोटे जगह रे जेंती हर मूवी जति के देखिथिबे कि आउर बहुत सारा मूवीज अछि जोति समान
मैट्रिक्स
हां आज्ञा कि एआई टा रिप्लेस कर दोची ह्यूमन ब्रेन को और इज ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ रिप्लेसिंग
बट आई डोंट सी इन दैट वे आमे जो टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करी सबले जेमिति साइंस आमे जो कहू जो फ्रिक्शन पढ़ी फ्रिक्शन आमे तो पढ़ुतलु लेखाई थाए फ्रिक्शन इज ए नेसेसरी एविल राइट फ्रिक्शन इज नेसेसरी फॉर यू एज वेल एज इट एक्ट्स लाइक एन एविल फ्रिक्शन आई एम टॉकिंग द फ्रिक्शन राइट equally science is like that if you wish to use science for the to destroy the society you can destroy it and if we used to build the society based on science you can do that but coming to this artificial intelligence mu mane jatti hochi bartaman okay I don't see that any machine can see the biggest difference between machine and the brain is ame jo intelligent our intelligence is something different which depends on the consciousness right and until now we don't know ki what is the science of consciousness we don't understand people are trying to do that telo machine ku ei bartan jo AI system sob dekhuchanti right these are actually restricted AI mane ताकू मु जेतिकी सिखैछि से मशीन को से सती करिवो जेमिति गोटे एग्जांपल दउछि आम ह्यूमन रे कोन होय आमे गोटे प्रॉब्लम गोटे आसिले आमे से प्रॉब्लम के देखिथिबानी कि सुनिथिबानी किंतु से आसिले आमे ताकू जेमिति हले सॉल्व करि कि जाऊ राइट बट इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर द मशीन we use many things right jemiti I would example dauchi if I'll ask you just imagine how your hand are placed with respect to your body you can easily do that but machine cannot do that so the intelligence ei jo intelligence word ame aaj kale bahut engineering re use koru chu intelligence artificial intelligence when I go to different platform to have a debate on AI seiti mu age kuhe je aji parjanta mu AI dekhini आउ रियल एआई मत लगुच नेक्स्ट 50 इयर्स पर्यंत भी देखिबी नै बिकॉज ऑफ मेनी थिंग्स गोटे सिंपल एग्जांपल दउची जते बेला में गाड़ी ड्राइव करू राइट गाड़ी ड्राइव जते करू छु गोटे रेड लाइट आसीबो लेसे मु पटिया छकरू आसुची सेपटू नंदनकानन आसुची राइट से रेड लाइट रे मु देखुची जो काउंटर अछि काउंटडाउन स्टार्ट हेची जे ब्लू अछि 30 29 28 मु आसुची लेसे मु अछि 500 मीटर्स आगरू तो एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग मु कोन करिवि जे मो आगरे देखी केते अच्छी गाड़ी मोर स्पीड केते सेइटु मु एस्टिमेट करिवि जे आउ 2 सेकंड अच्छी क्रॉस करिया पई मु एक्सेलरेटर आउट टिके जोर की दबी देले पळै जिवि राइट केते जिंसो से मुंड भीतर चले राइट एंड until now we human being we are not able to understand how we do that आउट एग्जांपल दोची आमो इंडिया रे इवन ओडिशा रे भी बहुत लोक रॉन्ग रूट रे रॉन्ग ये रे ड्राइव करते राइट but आमे तो ड्राइव करो हमर एक्सीडेंट तो हुए नहीं but this autonomous vehicle which are coming एटा एक्सीडेंट हबो ही हबो they cannot work in India they can only work in the जेट की लॉ या रूल्स फॉलो करती राइट तो क्वेश्चन होची आमो ब्रेन को भले ए सब जिंस करि परछि राइट तेनो आउट ए सब बड़ कथा होची जेमिति मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस रे भी एआई हम यूज करछु किछि माने किछि जगह रे डॉक्टर माने पचारंती जे आपन कोन भाबुचंदी एआई आम डॉक्टर भी दरकार हबनी then my answer is no it's not like that AI is going to help you out let's say human can get easily tired right jemiti ajikale sunithibe gote out word aschi industry 4.0 right ta mane hochi maximum industry bartan robo काम करे robot तो तेणु किछि लोक भाबंती जे ताले तो आम जॉब पळै जिवो बट एक्चुअली जॉब केबे जीवनी जॉब आहुर क्रिएट हो जेमिति कंप्यूटर जेत आसिला that time also I remember I was a student in the school or college समस्त कहउतले अरे कंप्यूटर ये सब जॉब पळै जीवो सब तो कंप्यूटर करिवो किंतु वर्तमान देखुथिबे समस्ते जे सबटु बेसी जॉब होउची सॉफ्टवेयर रे राइट सो ए जे इंडस्ट्री 4.0 माने होउची आमे ह्यूमन बीइंग वी कैन गेट इजीली टायर्ड वी कैन गेट इजीली बोर्ड जदि हमको रिपीटेशन वाला काम दिया जीवो आमे बहुत जल्दी बोर हो जाओ लेट्स से गोटे इंडस्ट्री रो मु जन को एम्प्लॉय गोटे अपॉइंटमेंट करिवि जे तू देखिबु ए जे ब्रॉयलरटा घुरुची एटा केतले खराब हे जे तोडा देखु तो बसिकी से कोन करियो किछ पर देखला पर से ढोळेबो ढोळेला को सेटा खराब हेगले भी जानि परिबोनी सेटु इंडस्ट्री ऑफ प्रोडक्टिविटी कमी जीवो राइट तो लेट्स से सेठी मु गोटे रोबोट रखि देली रोबोट इज ए मशीन ओके रोबोट को नॉलेज दे देली जत्ते बेले एटा एई भले हबो तू वार्निंग दबु जे ताको रिप्लेस करो राइट then I can take the right action at the right time right exactly जेमिति डॉक्टर गोटे डॉक्टर लेसे जानिथिबे जो लेसे जने जो माने न्यूरो रो काम करथि लेसे ब्रेन सिग्नल को देखि के डायग्नोस करथि जने लुकर ब्रेन सिग्नल जने डायग्नोस यदि करिवो तार गोटे दिन भी पळै जीवो से बुझी परिबोनी किछि काइना 24 आवर्स यदि ब्रेन सिग्नल पूरा ब्रेन रो रिकॉर्ड करिवि इट्स ए ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम आमो देश रे एमिति ट्रेन्ड न्यूरल फिजियोलॉजिस्ट बहुत कम डॉक्टर तो बहुत कम राइट सो द क्वेश्चन इज तो जदि एते पेशेंट आ जने डॉक्टर जदि जनकर एनालिसिस करिया पई गुटे दिन ऊपर निए तो सी भी टायर्ड हो जाई पारे बोर हो जाई पारे तेणु सेटा भी ह्यूमन एरर हो पारे तो एठी हमें एआई को अप्लाई करि परियो केमिति ना एआई जे एल्गोरिथम जो भलिया ए मनीषो डायग्नोसिस करछि एआई सीधा विद इन फ्रैक्शन ऑफ सेकंड से एई पॉइंट बाछि नबो जे एई जगह प्रॉब्लम थाई पारे तापरे से डॉक्टर को दबो जे ओके यू जस्ट सी एंड कंफर्म इट राइट एंड डॉक्टर विल कंफर्म इट सेटा कोन करिवो एआई टा मनीषर कामटा को कष्टटा को से कमी दबो राइट बट इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू रिप्लेस द डॉक्टर so likewise I mean I don't feel that I mean हाँ depend करे आमे AI टा को को लेवल को नवा पई चाहूछु आ या पर बहुत बड़ डिबेट भी चलछि जे ता केति की नॉलेज दबा से कोन करि परिबो इट शुड नॉट टेक ओवर द ह्यूमन बीइंग राइट हाँ जदि से ह्यूमन आकु आगे गला देन nobody knows what will happen
Sir, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ question ଥିଲା ଯଦି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ
Yes, 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 please.
So, the question is कि যদি artificial intelligence,
Yes.
the AI, if we just replace intelligence with emotions, is it an entirely different game or is
No,
it
outer पचारंतु कोन
artificial intelligence? Intelligence word टा ଯଦି ଆମେ replace करके emotions use
No.
करते
No. Emotion is a different component. That how we can put the emotion in the machine, how the machine can understand the emotion of the people, right?
Yes, sir.
So या पर भी बहुत एडवांस काम चलची इवन मो लेवल रे भी बळा काम करू जे इमोशन को हमें कोला रिकॉग्नाइज करि परिबा आ इफ वी कैन क्रिएट द मॉडल काइना इमोशन होची बहुत ही बडे इंपोर्टेंट फैक्टर इवन लेट्स से मु भितरे दुखी अछि किंतु मोडी टॉक दोची मु स्माइल करूची राइट हाउ विल नो दैट वेदर आई एम हैप्पी और रियली आई एम सैड राइट so this is a very big thing and these are the main component now scientists are trying to understand and create the model out of it so that we can make the machine which can understand our emotion.
No, sir. Actually, the question was more towards that. Are we somewhat successful in incorporating emotions into the machines? Just like we have somewhat.
Yes, we are doing, but not much. I cannot say that 100% we can. This is still. I mean, we are far from that to achieving the success.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, out there, बहुत thank you. अपन time बाहर करके आज join करके इतने बढ़िया slide पूरा easy वे रे बुझे को slide बने के समस्त को इतने easily पूरा I think मुझे भी बहुत enjoy करे आउ समस्त जो मैंने join करते हैं सेमाने भी session रो बहुत किसी सीखी थी बे बहुत मजा आती वो सीखिया को and सरों करा trust और page सर भी ये जो ये वो link टा पक्के दो ची इतने chat box रे जदि किए देखिवा को चाहिए सरंकर काम से देखि परिबे एंड तापरे बाकी आउ काहो किछि जदि किछि क्वेश्चन नहीं तो हमें ई सेशन
पिलावन को क्वेश्चन अछि कि सब सुई जाइते पिलावन सब
No, sir.
Professor Gandhi, you were very interesting session. Mutebe, wo colleagues too, I'm getting messages. Ki very interesting person. They won't. If you allow me, I can share your number with my colleagues. They want to discuss with you.
Okay.
So my only concern was that can you just tell me about the major myth about artificial intelligence that common people have?
Myth means what kind of myth? Because I'm more Odisha asti mo English ate बुझी पारनी तो ओडिया कले बेटर होबो.
Myth माने wrong understanding.
Wrong understanding. कौन wrong कि तो wrong नहीं मु तो already explain कर ली जे artificial intelligence को.
For example, जब कल्याणी कहला artificial intelligence can replace normal intelligence.
No.
They can only. So these are the common myth which is wrong.
Completely wrong. आमे आगुर जेमिति मोटे एग्जांपल देली आगुर मिथ थिला जे कंप्यूटर जो दुनिया रे पूरा चारडे कंप्यूटराइज हे जाउची से जॉब नै जीवटा भूल कथा मिछ कथा सब टेक्नोलॉजी हम पई नुवा अपॉर्चुनिटी नै के आसे सब बेले राइट आज काले इवन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द हेल्थ केयर एते जल्दी डायग्नोसिस हेई पारुची केवल एई जिंसो पई ए जो एआई कैन हेल्प इन बेटर डायग्नोसिस ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम राइट तो ऑलवेज सबले गुटे कथा मन रखा दरकार आमे साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी को we should use just like as our slave, and if we'll make them our master, definitely they can do whatever they wish to do, right? Kaikina, they are much more faster than us. But amor jo intelligence ochi etiki intelligence nako pakar nahi, right? Seita jodi ame taku sobu dei daba, then definitely we have to suffer our the things. So तेणु myth बर्तमान किछि नाही बर्तमान जति की यूज होची सेटा को हम स्लेव आकार में ताको यूज करू छु.
Okay. I would a second question hoji since you said ki AI is booming people there's a lot of career perspectives in AI. So what do you say? What is the common how should if somebody wants to build a career in this line?
Yes, I mean in order to build the line तो एटा पई मु गुटे जिंस समस्त कहय पई चाहिबी आगरु थिला जे try to be good in one domain. But now I can tell you, try to understand each and every domain. Probably pilavan to an gute kotha कहय जाउची biology is very interesting and don't leave biology subject. Biology को तुम third option रखो fourth option रखो गुटे biology को सबले रखिथिबो संगरे. Okay? because nowadays, even the artificial intelligence, I'm telling you, first of all, you need to understand science of intelligence. ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ brain ଉପରେ କାମ କରେ, but I am professor at electrical engineering. Electrical ତୁମେ ଜାଣିଥିବ, ତୁମେ ଭାବୁଥିବ ଯେ ମୁଁ biology ଉପରେ କେମିତି କାମ କରୁଛି. Yes, I understand all this thing, right? ତ ତୁମେ computer science ବି ଜାଣିଥିବା ଦରକାର, କେମିତି programming କରିବା ପାଇଁ ହବ, ତୁମେ electronics ବି ଜାଣିଥିବା ଦରକାର. And if you know each and everything, then you can do wonders. So ତୁମେ ଜାଣିଥିବ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯୋଉ new education policy ରେ ଆମର multidisciplinary approach. That means it's not be one domain. You have to have all the domains together, right? And तो सही पाई तो मैंने capably biology को तो छाड़िबो नहीं. Biology is very interesting.
So what do you see? But if somebody is approaching you, keep PhD career, you said that there are 30 students working in your lab. What is exactly you see when you want somebody to join your team?
Okay, so definitely more leverage जो चलती है माने mostly if they are BTech engineering करसा परे engineering जो माने more than 9 CGP out of 10. The top class, and they are mostly from, let's say, IIT or NIT kind of places, they can directly come, or they have to do Master of Technology, MTech, or I mean, they should have very strong academic.
So you only say कि only जे BTech from IIT BTech,
mostly
they are only.
I am not telling. This is the criteria of IIT or the government of India, right? So they have to fulfill all these kind of things. But mu try करे. केते इजीली माने जो पिला माने कि एक्सपोजर के पाई नांती केबे ताको मौका मिलनी से भले पिला को भी मु निए काहे कि ना मु होची सही कैटेगरी पिला मते भी मु जतले स्टूडेंट थिलो ओडिसा रे मु तो इंजीनियरिंग पढिनी मेडिसिन भी पढिनी तो मु जतले जाउथली के प्रोफेसर पाको आईआईटी के एनआईटी मोस्ट तो केई कथा भी होनथिले राइट तेनु सही जिनसटा को मु सळे भाबे जे तेनु आई शुड आल्सो अलाउ द पीपल टू एंटर तो मु फर्स्ट टा कहली जो आईआईटी रो जो रोल राइट बट बियॉन्ड दैट इफ समबडी इज इंटरेस्टेड and if somebody will come to me, I'll find out the way कि से केमिति आसी काम करि परिबो, right?
Thank you. So students, you have this opportunity. Build your career and please write to Professor Gandhi if you wish to build your career in AI.
Okay, so any question from the student? Student adu kichi question nahi?
No, sir.
Huh?
They are all smiling.
No, sir.
No. So you understood everything, right?
Yes, sir.
Tapan sir.
Yes.
Ashutosh Nanda from KTC. Sir, this is the माने एटा गोटे मोर बेस्ट प्रेजेंटेशन आज मु सुनिली मते गोटे फिल्म देखला वाला लागिला. थैंक यू फॉर द नॉलेज. बहुत बढ़िया लागला सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, sir. I think आपण already हम 15 मिनट एक्स्ट्रा ले सारछु तो पिला मान तो सब बुझी गले समस्त yes sir कहले no questions. So again thank you sir for joining us for today's session. अपन टाइम देले effort देले एते पढे से बुझेले एक्चुअली मते भी मूवी देखला वाला लागला जे कि हां चलची मूवी
दुईटा कथा आइदर समस्त बुझी परछन सब और के किछि बुझिनी हला
ना मैं फर्स्ट कैटेगरी रे फॉल करछु सब बुझ पालु.
So thank you again everyone for joining us for today's session, and this was the last session for the day. But of course I think एते लेट रहे कि भी समस्त बहुत एक्टिव थिले, समस्त बहुत भल से सुनले अंतिम वजह के सुनिले. And thank you again everyone. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you ma'am.
Thank you sir. Thank you.